Chapter 531. The arrival of Qian Luo and Qiu Baibu was a signal. It meant that a large number of blood killers would appear. Although perfect bodies with more than 5 blood were forbidden from participating, the number of blood killers was still astonishing. Li Shuifeng, Hu Kaishan, and the other 7 blood killers quickly arrived. Blood Shadow, War Eagle, and a group of faster 6 blood killers also arrived. Although the blood mist forest was large, the area in the center was limited. Furthermore, it couldn't withstand a large number of people. There were 7 blood killers and dozens of 6 blood killers, not to mention 5 blood killers. It was easy to obtain holy pearls, but obtaining blood pearls not only required strength, but also luck. According to Senior Qian Luo, the eruption speed of Blood Red this time is very fast, far exceeding the previous Blood Red. It's estimated that it will reach its peak on the 2nd or 3rd day of Blood Red and last for about 5 days. Lin Feng searched everywhere. He casually took a holy Yin pearl. The blood red phenomenon appeared in a parabola. The blood fog's density would increase day by day, and the frequency and number of holy pearls and blood pearls would increase. After reaching the peak, it would begin to descend until it ended. Young Master, 33 degrees to the east. Little Yun's voice sounded in his mind. Lin Feng immediately headed in another direction. Change of strategy. As the number of blood killers increased in the depths of the blood mist forest, the ferocious god-demon beasts were undoubtedly unlucky. The 6 blood killers were already very difficult to deal with, and the 7 blood killers could kill them like chopping vegetables. Therefore, Little Yun's current mission was to explore the place where the blood fog's energy was the strongest. It wasn't fixed. The blood fog's energy contained the elements of blood, fog, and yin. When the 3 were condensed to the extreme, they would form their respective holy pearls. Therefore, the blood fog's energy might be very strong in a certain place, but as the holy pearls continued to condense, it would slowly weaken. This place isn't bad. Lin Feng vaguely sensed the density of the blood fog's energy. The blood fog's energy was strong, but it didn't mean that there were many holy pearls. This was because the condensation of holy pearls would absorb a large amount of elemental energy. However, there was little competition, and he could wait for opportunities. When the blood fog's energy reached a certain level, it would naturally condense holy pearls. When the time came, it would be effortless. Cultivation, to himself, was the most important thing. After all, the blood pearls didn't increase his strength. Last time, it was said that only 8 blood beads appeared. From Qian Luo, Lin Feng obtained a lot of information about blood red. Even if we include the hidden parts, it's only about 1. The blood fog forest is so big that it's too difficult to search for them. That's right. This was the reason why Senior Qian Luo did not think that he would be able to obtain the 2nd blood pearl, unless his luck was heaven-defying. Let them fight. Lin Feng was calm. 330 billion Nemo dollars was more than enough for him. Even if he did not get anything, he was still much luckier than most of the blood assassins. It was all thanks to Little Yun's early judgment. 0% Young Master. Xiao Yun's voice sounded in his mind. Lin Feng smiled. Level 8 of Qi Cloud, 0%. Following the eruption of Blood Red, his own cultivation speed would also usher in a period of great improvement. 30%, 40%. His cultivation speed continued to increase. Lin Feng wandered in the depths of the blood mist forest, happy and content. He didn't have the bloodshot eyes of those blood assassins, and calmly harvested Saint Pearls one after another. Right now, his efficiency had become very slow, but Lin Feng didn't care. He had met Qiu Baibu once, but the latter just stared at him and left. Get the blood pearl. If anyone sees it, sell it immediately. Lin Feng thought to himself. There was no need to do it for Nemo dollars. It would put him in a dangerous situation. His first goal was to cultivate. The first blood pearl has appeared. Really, who got it? It's Qian Luo, Master Qian Luo. Hu Kaishan and Li Shuifeng were both there, but the 2 of them couldn't beat Master Qian Luo. Amazing. Another one. Lin Feng was happy for Qian Luo. He was a straightforward assassin. Among all the members who participated in Blood Red this time, Qian Luo was known as Qian Luo. Qian Luo was publicly acknowledged as the strongest, so it was expected that he would be able to obtain a blood pearl. However, the blood mist forest was so big that it depended on luck. Because he was recognized as the strongest, he might not have an absolute advantage in the competition, because he would be jointly targeted. They're all 7 blood assassins, so the difference in strength shouldn't be too great. Lin Feng knew very well. With these 2 blood pearls, I believe Senior Qian Luo will be able to break through to the perfect body. Qian Luo had already passed his limit. To become a Nemo expert and cross the threshold of a perfect body, he needed to rely on external items. The second blood pearl has appeared. Blood Shadow snatched it away. This fellow is too ruthless. Both sides suffered losses, and he heavily injured Meng Xiao. This Blood Shadow is too terrifying. He has only been in Blood Tower for a year, but not only has he risen to the level of 6 blood, he can even defeat a 7 blood assassin. What a monster! Entering the Nirvana world is a certainty. When the time comes, he will at least be an 8 blood assassin. Lin Feng passed through with a whoosh. A day had passed since the blood pearls began. The situation was basically set. The 7 blood assassins fought their own battles. The stronger 6 blood assassins moved alone, such as Blood Shadow and Xiaobaibu. The ordinary ones formed teams of 2. As for the 5 blood assassins, they mainly formed teams. Lin Feng, will you be fine alone? That's right. Do you want to join us? A few 5 blood assassins from Blood Tower 3 shouted. Every Blood Tower was a small faction. They were basically rather united. Due to Qian Luo's public announcement, the blood assassins of Blood Tower 3 accepted Lin Feng quite well. Especially when they learned that he was a newcomer, they would naturally take more care of him. There's no need, Brother Qin, Brother Li. Lin Feng declined with a smile. Qin Feng and Li Liren were both 5 blood assassins. They were very friendly to him and had already invited him once. Kid, you like to flaunt your superiority, Qin Feng reprimanded with a smile. You're young, but you're quite ambitious. Li Liren laughed out loud. Lin Feng smiled. Suddenly, Little Yun's voice sounded in his mind. Lin Feng whizzed towards Qin Feng and Li Liren. The 2 of them were slightly taken aback. Instantly, a holy Een pearl gathered behind them. Qin Feng and Li Liren's eyes lit up. However, a hand in the void reacted faster than them. Smack! Lin Feng grabbed it. Holy SH*T, F***CK. Qin Feng and Li Liren's eyes widened. Before they could recover, Lin Feng suddenly turned. As if he could predict the future, he went straight to the empty space on the left. Something strange happened. Just before Lin Feng arrived, another holy Een pearl appeared. In just an instant, it disappeared again. Let's go, Brother Qin, Brother Li. Lin Feng's voice fell, leaving behind the dumbfounded crowd of Blood Tower 3. Is this a coincidence? Qin Feng was stunned. 300 billion newcomers. They really live up to their reputation. Li Liren sighed. Chapter 532. The entire blood mist forest was now covered in a boundless blood mist, and it was completely blurry. The sensing abilities of the martial artists were greatly reduced. From time to time, there would be news of the 5 blood assassins dying. As the blood mist became thicker, the fierce god beast became crazier and more excited. Different from the blood assassins, the fierce god beast had much stronger sensing abilities. The only one that could match or even surpass them was Lin Feng. Finding the rare blood orbs required extremely good luck, but finding saint orbs didn't require that. With Xiao Yun's help, Lin Feng quietly made a fortune. Although it wasn't a huge fortune, at least among the blood hangers, he definitely obtained the most saint orbs. 1 pure blood saint orb and pure mist saint orb, 1 million Nemo dollars. 1 pure Een saint orb, 100 million Nemo dollars. The 50th, Lin Feng reached out and grabbed another pure Een saint orb. Xiao Yun, who had the extreme Een body, was the most sensitive to the Een elemental energy and obtained the most. As the blood mist energy continued to increase, so did the number of pure Een saint orbs. Lin Feng put the pure Een saint orb into his storage ring and disappeared. Damn it, I'm late again. A depressed voice came from behind him. Why is it him again? This newbie is so lucky. Lin Feng left directly. There was no need to pay attention to it. It would only cause more trouble. The blood assassins naturally wouldn't fight over the sane orbs. After all, the weakest 5 blood assassins could still make a few $100 million Nemo dollars a month. Plus, there were too many sane orbs, and they could appear anytime. It was just that they didn't get it, so it was inevitable that they would feel resentful. There are about 5,000 pure blood saint orbs and pure mist saint orbs in total. Plus these 50 pure saint orbs. I've earned 10 billion Nemo dollars in a little over a day. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Even the 7 blood assassins had to work hard to earn 10 billion Nemo dollars. He was just doing it casually. His cultivation continued. Only 30% left. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Haha, the 3rd pure saint orb. Too profitable. Plus the pure blood saint orbs and pure mist saint orbs. Yeah, we've earned 400 million Nemo dollars in the first day. 100 million per person. It's comparable to a normal 6 HP mission. 2 6 blood assassins from Blood Tower number 10 sped past. Xiao Yi's laughter was filled with satisfaction. She quickly passed by Lin Feng. She glanced at him and sneered. Isn't this the newcomer? He actually didn't die. His strength isn't much, but his ambition is big. He actually wants to snatch the pearl by himself. One of them laughed and said, after a busy day, if this kid is lucky, he will be able to snatch the pearl. A few pure blood, pure mist saint pearls would be good enough. Wrong. It's good enough that he's still alive. Ha! The 2 of them laughed and left. Lin Feng was not in a hurry. He paused for a while. Not long after the 2 6 blood assassins left, a pure saint pearl that contained extreme energy slowly appeared in the air. Whoosh! Instantaneous appearance and instantaneous disappearance. The 53rd one. Lin Feng smiled. The 3rd one. The 3rd blood orb has appeared. A great battle royale. It's too cruel. The 2 6 blooded assassins were seriously injured. A 5 blood assassin who got the blood bead first had his hand cut off. Who got in the end? Boss Qian Luo? No, Boss Qian Luo was surrounded by 3 7 blood assassins and was injured. You definitely won't be able to guess the final winner. It's blowing snow. Blood Tower 8's blowing snow. 5 7 blood assassins gathered together, but in the end, it was snatched away by a woman, a mere 6 blood assassin. First it was Blood Shadow, then Blowing Snow. These 2 6 blood assassins are so powerful. Yes, although their talent isn't enough and they don't have a perfect body, in terms of true combat strength, the 2 of them are ranked in the top 10 of all 6 blood assassins. The 3rd blood orb had appeared. Every one of them was big news. Lin Feng didn't need to deliberately obtain them. All kinds of voices had already reached his ears. The 3rd one? It's at least the 4th one, or even the 5th or 6th. Lin Feng knew very well. The appearance of some blood orbs was unknown. For example, only he, Senior Qian Luo, and Xiu Baibu knew about the 1st blood orb. If the 3 of them didn't say anything, no one else would know. Just like the blood orb 23 years ago, it was said that 8 blood orbs had appeared, but how many had actually appeared was still a question mark. However, this blood orb is indeed much faster than the previous one, just as Senior Qian Luo said. Lin Feng nodded. In less than 2 days, at least 4 blood orbs had appeared. The competition was even more intense. Anyway, it's none of my business. Lin Feng smiled. He wasn't that lucky. Unless he was the only one who saw the blood orb, it would be difficult for him to defeat even a 5 blood assassin. The last 10%. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Level 9 of the Qi Cloud stage. It's faster than expected. Lin Feng was very satisfied. It only took a little more than a day. As the blood orb had yet to appear, the parabola was slowly rising. Therefore, his cultivation speed was increasing every moment. The soul of the Earth's aura cloud was already quite full. It only needed to break through the last level to advance to the embryo stage. With the soul of the Earth as the center and the Dantian as the origin, the first meridian diagram was about to enter a new level. Compared to the second meridian diagram of the innate spirit, the progress was faster. Innate spirit, soul of the earth, mind expanse of 100%. The 10th stage isn't the limit, but a new starting point. The innate spirit should be the same. The third meridian diagram. It was the resonance of the 7 martial spirits. The deep and mysterious black hole vortex was like a key that contained the extreme mysteries of the body. Among the 7 martial spirits, 5 of them formed the first meridian diagram with the soul of the earth. Tianchong and innate spirit formed the second meridian diagram with the innate spirit. The 3 meridian diagrams were closely related. The improvement of the soul of the earth brought the 5 martial spirits level, including the force spirit and the core spirit. The improvement of the innate spirit drove the Tianchong and innate spirit levels, with the 7 martial spirits driving the third meridian diagram, thus improving the innate spirit. Since the human body has 3 souls and 7 spirits, then none of them can be missing. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He arranged for Xiao Yun to temporarily stop the improvement of the soul of the earth. On the other hand, with the pure Yin energy and the dragon pearl necklace, he could improve the level of the innate spirit in the fastest way. Although Lin Feng didn't know if his judgment was correct, there was no harm in giving it a try. Especially the improvement of the innate spirit, it would be of great help to the improvement of the combat strength. The improvement of the Qi cloud stage was too fast. In an instant, the innate spirit reached the 7th stage of the Qi cloud stage. 3 hours later, it reached the 8th stage of the Qi cloud stage. It was still climbing. But at this moment, boom! The sky flashed and the earth shook. It was like an ordinary thunder, but it also seemed like the wrath of the heavens. Lin Feng, who was wandering around, suddenly stopped and looked at the sky with his eyes wide open. This is Chapter 533. Lightning. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. It was just an ordinary lightning bolt, but he could feel it deeply. It was not because he possessed the lightning dragon embryo star, but calamity lightning. Without experiencing the calamity lightning personally, one would not be able to distinguish the difference between the calamity lightning and ordinary lightning, especially when the sky was completely covered by the blood mist. Other than the sound, one could not see the appearance of the lightning. However, just from the sound and feeling, he could clearly distinguish the difference, including Xiao Yun. It's the calamity lightning of the transformation stage, young master. Xiao Yun's voice rang in his mind. Lin Feng was even more certain. However, doubts arose in his mind. It's impossible for there to be a calamity lightning when walking the demon god path. The appearance of the calamity lightning must be the demonic beast walking the transformation stage. Lin Feng was very clear. However, in this blood mist forest, he had never seen a demonic beast walking the transformation stage. In order to survive, every demonic beast walked the demon god path, especially here, in the deepest part of the blood mist forest. Not only did it walk the transformation stage, but it hasn't even reached the transformation stage. Lin Feng's heart shuddered. In a place where demon god demonic beasts had to risk their lives for survival, it was a miracle that a transformation stage demonic beast could exist. Of course, there was a possibility. For example, this transformation stage demonic beast had the protection of a powerful demon god demonic beast. Other demonic beasts would not dare to touch it. The appearance of blood, red, benefited not only humans. The demonic beasts that grew up in the blood mist forest were crazily excited for blood red. Because they absorbed a large amount of blood mist, their inner cores would gain enough energy to increase their strength. This transformation stage demonic beast must have increased its cultivation rapidly because of this, causing the calamity lightning to descend. Lin Feng nodded. Thunder rumbled in his ears. In the blink of an eye, the second calamity lightning struck. The power is not strong, Lin Feng said softly. He shouldn't be like young master, who had to take on 9 calamity lightning. Xiao Yin smiled. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. The normal transformation calamity lightning had 3 calamity lightning, while the transformation calamity lightning had 9 calamity lightning. Young master, aren't you going to take a look? Xiao Yin suddenly asked. Lin Feng was surprised. Xiao Yun said, "For a demonic beast to be able to walk the path of transformation in the blood fog forest, its bloodline is definitely not to be underestimated. After experiencing the tribulation lightning, it must be extremely weak. Young master might be able to attack its weakness." Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. "This isn't like you, little Yun." As a medical practitioner, Xiao Yun was kind-hearted like Senior Bai Yun. Such behavior was not in line with her character. "It's the Wolf Clan. I hate the aura of the Wolf Clan the most." Xiao Yun's voice carried a hint of anger. "Our five-tailed Snow Fox Clan hates the Wolf Clan the most. If there are still many kind-hearted people among the humans, none of the demonic beasts of the Wolf Clan are good." Lin Feng understood. It was as if they were mortal enemies. It was rare to see Xiao Yun so angry. It seemed like the grudge between her and the Wolf Clan was not just a little bit. "Then let's go and take a look." Lin Feng didn't care. Although the blood-red pearl was precious, there was something much more precious. For example, even Yamo would be tempted. The five-tailed snow fox extreme body that Ao Jianhui wanted even in his dreams. "I've seen I've been here before." Lin Feng had a memory of it. After nearly 2 days of searching, although his speed was not fast, he had almost run through the depths of the blood fog forest. Looking into the distance, Lin Feng's eyes lit up when he saw the barrier flashing like a barrier. He suddenly understood. The ancient seal. His memory was very clear. The blood fog forest relied on the ancient seal. All the blood assassins knew about it. After crossing this ancient seal, it's the Nirvana world. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. There, the essence of the Nyamo star gathered. The experts of the 3 clans were there. The Zizhou experts were only cannon fodder. The Nyamo experts in the Nirvana world were the basic fighting force. The Blood Tower had a rule. To enter the Nirvana world, one must meet one of 2 conditions. First, Nyamo experts and 7 blood assassins could enter. Second, the limit had passed. That was to say, 7 blood assassins above 30 years old could enter. Of course, they could also enter at will, but they wouldn't be able to get the Blood Tower's token. Not being able to become a member of the Blood Tower in the Nirvana world was fatal. The experts of the Yao clan and the Demon clan were wreaking havoc. The Nirvana world was full of blood and trembling. The top experts of the 33 continents entered the Nirvana world only with basic fighting force. I'll cultivate step by step. At that time, I'll enter the Nirvana world according to the first condition. Lin Feng's goal was clear. He wouldn't casually break through the ancient seal. Once he entered, he wouldn't be able to come back. It was very likely that he would run into the experts of the Yao clan and the Demon clan directly. Especially on the other side of the Blood Fog Forest, there was a forest in the Nirvana world. The same forest didn't mean the same level of danger. Demon beasts comparable to Nyamo experts and fierce beasts with awakened bloodlines. I don't think there'll be anything left if I go there. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. No matter how strong Little Yun's perception was, it couldn't be compared to those demon beasts comparable to Nyamo experts. While he was pondering, the third clap of thunder suddenly sounded. Lin Feng followed the sound of thunder and looked at the ancient seal on the boundary pattern. Lin Feng was stunned for a moment and was a little dazed. After a few seconds, he came to his senses and asked, "Can you feel it, Little Yun?" "Yes, young master. It's 0 degrees to the northwest of you." Little Yun's voice came clearly, but it shocked Lin Feng even more. Behind the ancient seal? Impossible. Lin Feng shook his head inwardly. The ancient seal can isolate aura and power. There's no way to feel it. Blood red. Lin Feng finally understood. The blood mist came from the other side of the ancient seal. I see. Lin Feng's figure flashed and came to the ancient seal. He felt the blood mist pass through, but his aura couldn't pass through the blood mist, let alone the ancient seal. However, Little Yun had an extreme body. Although she couldn't pass through the seal, she could detect the Nirvana world through the blood mist. I think the origin of the blood red is on the other side of the seal. The Nirvana world is indeed mysterious. Lin Feng nodded lightly. He was curious about everything in the Nirvana world. The third tribulation thunder sounded. accompanied by an even more violent clap of thunder. The earth shook, and the transformation stage, Thunder Tribulation, was over. Although Lin Feng wanted to go and take a look, he couldn't come back from the ancient seal. He wanted to, but he didn't have the strength. Just as he was about to leave, Lin Feng frowned. That's not right. The ancient seal can completely isolate everything. Hearing the clap of thunder, it can be said that the sound is transmitted through the blood mist. But why is the earth shaking? Lin Feng was puzzled and pondered. The earth shaking meant that the power on the other side affected this side. But if it was the ancient seal, it shouldn't be this situation. It was like two completely isolated spaces. How could the fluctuation of the other space affect this space? Unless this isn't the ancient seal? Lin Feng was shocked by his sudden thought. It can't be. Chapter 534. The ancient seal of the Blood Fog Forest was known by everyone in the Blood Fog continent. But who had actually entered it? I don't think so. Lin Feng was very clear that it was said that on the other side of the Blood Mist Forest seal, there was another vast and boundless forest. To be able to enter here and avoid the demon beasts, one had to be at least a 5-blood assassin. Their target was a 7-blood assassin. To enter the Nirvana world, who would choose such a dead end? The Blood Tower had a complete transition system. As long as one's strength reached 7-blood assassin and became a Nirvana expert, entering the Blood Tower in the Nirvana world, they would be protected. Even if one passed the limit, as long as one followed the rules of the Blood Tower, entering the Nirvana world could still become a Nirvana expert. To enter the ancient seal of the Blood Fog Forest alone? Unless one was stupid. Xiaoyun, can you feel what is on the other side of the seal? Lin Feng asked. Although there was the blood fog as a medium, he couldn't feel it. As for this seal, it was indeed a real seal. But in his opinion, whether it was an ancient seal or not was still to be determined. Lin Feng wouldn't take the risk. What if his judgment was wrong, and this was indeed an ancient seal? I can only vaguely feel the disgusting aura. Xiaoyan said softly. Yes, there's a stronger blood fog energy. Lin Feng approached the seal. Lines of enchantment, permeated with a strong and mysterious power, full of the unknown. He understood what Xiaoyan meant by stronger blood fog energy, because Qian Luo said the same thing. The blood red came from the Nirvana world. 50%, Lin Feng thought. In the end, he couldn't really make a conclusion. If it was an ancient seal, there were two questions that were difficult to solve. The first was the earthquake, and the second was Xiaoyun's perception. Even if the blood red could penetrate the ancient seal, it was really unbelievable that the perception could penetrate the seal. I really want to go in and see what is going on. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. In his blood, challenges and adventures flowed. He didn't want to be dull, but his reason stopped him. Indeed, there is a 50% chance that it was a new and unknown area, full of opportunities and adventures. But there was also a 50% chance that it was indeed an ancient seal, and he couldn't come back after entering. At that time, he was alone in a place full of Nirvana experts. That was a dead end. Actually, over the years, there should be other blood assassins like me who discovered something and had doubts. But, in the end, we still can't make any progress. Lin Feng turned around and left. Although he really wanted to break through this seal, after a rational analysis, the risk far outweighed the opportunity. 9th level of Qi Cloud Stage. On the 3rd day of Crimson Blood, before the energy of the blood mist reached the parabola, Lin Feng raised his talent spirit to the 9th level of Qi Cloud Stage. The 2nd and 1st meridian diagrams glowed faintly, waiting for the final breakthrough. Even the 3rd meridian diagram was filled with energy as the 7 martial spirits improved. Advanced side by side, Lin Feng asked Xiaoyun to absorb it steadily. They were cultivating at the same time. Let's hope that the blood red wine will take a little longer. Lin Feng's heart trembled. Looking at the current time, it was temporarily too late. By the time the Crimson of Blood ended, his cultivation speed would definitely plummet. However, the changes of the heavens were unpredictable and never went according to one's wishes. We're almost at the peak. Lin Feng was clear. With Xiaoyun's most precise judgment, there would be no mistake. The increase of the energy of the blood mist gradually slowed down, just like climbing a slope. The closer the distance, the slower it would be, the less physical strength. Pa! Pa! Lin Feng casually grabbed a few St. Pearls. His body moved almost parallel to them. Another pure Saint Pearl suddenly appeared. Lin Feng directly grabbed it. Then he disappeared forward. In the distance, a Saint Pearl slowly formed. It collided with a six-blood assassin, whose eyes lit up. However, Lin Feng's control of the Saint power was concise and decisive. Although the six-blood assassin was faster, he could do nothing against Lin Feng's Saint power. The corner of his mouth twitched, and he groaned. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. Another Saint Pearl appeared, but it was only for a moment before it disappeared. #%. Cursing silently, the six-blood assassin stared at Lin Feng angrily. Then he avoided Lin Feng and left. Every moment, countless Saint Pearls were born. Especially the higher the peak, the thicker the energy of the blood mist, and the more Saint Pearls there were. The 133rd. Lin Feng put the pure Saint Pearl into his storage ring. There are more than 8,000 other Saint Pearls, about $10 billion Nemo dollars in total. Lin Feng was satisfied with the accurate estimation in his heart. Although there were more Saint Pearls at the peak, the competition was also more intense. By the end of this, I'll have about 40 billion Nemo dollars. Lin Feng was not greedy. Blood Red estimated that it would take 6 days. Earning 40 billion Nemo dollars in less than 7 days was already a terrifying number. A 5-blood mission started at 100 million Nemo dollars. A 6-blood mission started at 1 billion Nemo dollars. 40 billion Nemo dollars was about a few months of work for a 6-blood assassin. If it was a rank 9 powerhouse in the 33 continents, it would be good to earn 10 billion Nemo dollars in a month. 40 billion Nemo dollars would take 0 months. And there's also a blood red pearl for 330 billion. Lin Feng smiled. This trip to Blood Red could be said to be perfect. The 9th one was taken by Blood Shadow again. Saint Force cultivators are really powerful. Telekinesis is the best in a chaotic battle. There were 9 in total, and he took 2 each. Yeah, same as Boss Qianluo. Lin Feng was calm when he heard about the blood red pearls from time to time. The 10th one. There will be 20 blood red pearls when it's almost over. In theory, the probability of a parabola going uphill and going downhill was the same. It's better than the last blood red, Lin Feng said softly, including the unknown crimson blood pearl. Even if the crimson blood pearl had not arrived yet, it was already on par with the previous crimson blood pearl. Senior Qianluo took 3 blood red pearls, Blood Shadow took 2, Hu Kaishan, Li Shuifeng, and Pterosaur Zheng each took 1. 6 blood red pearls, other than Blood Shadow, Blowing Snow took 1. The last one was supposed to go to Yilu. However, he died. How he died, no one knew. Even the blood red pearls he got disappeared. People die for wealth, birds die for food. Lin Feng sighed softly. If Qianluo hadn't appeared that day, he would have been like Yilu. He could have felt Xiao Baibu's killing intent. The blood red pearls could be sold for 300 billion Nemo dollars at a 50% discount. Its true value was more than 600 billion Nemo dollars. There was a price, but no market. Whoosh! Lin Feng passed through. As soon as he entered the area where the blood mist was rich, Lin Feng was stunned. In front of him, a blood-colored bead emitting a faint glow slowly took shape and appeared in midair. Blood red pearl? Lin Feng's eyes widened. Chapter 535. Pa! As if it was a conditioned reflex, Lin Feng directly put the crimson blood pearl into his bag. One shouldn't reveal one's wealth, especially the crimson blood pearl. In order to obtain a perfect body, those blood assassins would do anything. Killing was nothing out of the ordinary for them. Even the 6th blood assassin, Yilu, had been killed. Lin Feng didn't think that his strength was comparable to a 6th blood assassin. No one. Lin Feng was vigilant and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. In an instant, a smile appeared on his face. He had searched for it thousands of times in the crowd. Instead of deliberately searching for it, he had picked up a huge bargain. Most importantly, no one knew of its existence. To be able to return safely to the Blood Fog land, this crimson blood pearl is at least worth 600 billion Nemo dollars. Lin Feng smiled. His harvest this time was close to 1 trillion Nemo dollars. Often, a voice came from not far away, causing Lin Feng to pause. Looking over, he saw a total of 8 blood assassins gathered together. Their formation was not small. Brother Bing, Lin Feng greeted with a smile. He didn't expect to meet Brother Bing here. After all, Brother Bing was a 4-blood assassin and didn't know the mystery of the Crimson Blood Pearl. Looking over, the 8 blood assassins were almost all injured. The weakest aura was only at stage 9, while the strongest was at stage 2, or stage 3. It should be a 4-blood assassin team. Lin Feng quickly guessed. Basically, 6 blood assassins were in teams of 2. 5 blood assassins had at least 2 or 3, and at most 4 or 5. After all, it was easy to be chaotic with too many people, and it was easy to have disputes. Their efficiency and profits would greatly decrease. I didn't expect you to really come, Brother Bing. Lin Feng's figure flashed and came in front of Qi Bing. Brother Bing had told him that the Crimson Blood Pearl might come. That day, he had indeed mentioned that he wanted to explore the mystery of the Crimson Blood Pearl, but they had never met again. I told some of my companions about my idea. Everyone was interested, so they came together. Qi Bing sized up Lin Feng. It's normal for me to come here, but often... He hesitated. Qi Bing didn't understand. He knew Lin Feng's strength. At the front of the 3-blooded assassin. How did the 4-blood assassin's tale come to the depths of the Blood Fog forest alone? Ice, this brother doesn't look familiar. A young man holding a sword asked. Brother Huang, this is the super newcomer that I've always mentioned to you. Lin Feng, Qi Bing introduced with a smile. 300 billion rookies. Everyone was shocked. Qi Bing nodded. His gaze fell on Lin Feng, and he suddenly asked in surprise, Often, when did you join Blood Tower 3? Lin Feng glanced at his chest and smiled. Qian Luo gave it to me. Boss Qian Luo. Everyone's expression turned solemn and respectful. Qi Bing nodded and murmured, No wonder. By the way, Often, are you alone? Lin Feng responded softly. That won't do. Qi Bing looked worried and said, How about this? You can move with us. The more people we have, the better. As soon as he finished speaking, Ice, this won't do. That's right, Ice. How are we going to split the profits then? Friendship is friendship. Don't break the rules. One more person meant one more incense burner. No one was willing, especially Lin Feng, who was obviously not strong enough. No matter how famous the 300 billion rookies were, he was still a newcomer. Instantly, Qi Bing's face turned pale. No need, Brother Bing. Thank you for your kindness. Lin Feng helped Qi Bing out of the predicament. Of course, he would not join their team. Lin Feng glanced at everyone and said, Forgive me for being blunt. The blood-red lake has reached its peak, and the blood mist energy is the strongest. The fierce god beasts are the most excited and frenzied. It's very dangerous for you to go in now. A group of 4 blood assassins. Indeed, they were comparable to 5 blood assassins. They did not need to be afraid of mid-level fierce god beasts. However, there were still high-level fierce god beasts above mid-level fierce god beasts. Right now, it was the time for them to be violent. You can survive. We can't survive. One of the young men sneered. Don't listen to his nonsense. How could it be that scary? With so many 6 and 7 blood assassins around, most of the fierce god demonic beasts have been killed. We haven't encountered any powerful fierce god demonic beasts along the way. The blood-red lake is now at its peak. How can we miss such a good opportunity? Stop dawdling. Let's go. Everyone spoke one after another with disdain and mockery. Lin Feng smiled faintly. He knew that his words carried little weight, but he had already said what he needed to say. To be honest, with their combat strength, they would definitely die if they went in. When the blood-red lake ended, it would be good enough if 1 or 2 of them could survive. He reminded them only to return Brother Bing's favor. Can I talk to you in private? Lin Feng looked at Qi Bing. Often, Qi Bing looked over and saw the persistence in Lin Feng's eyes. She nodded and said a few words to her teammates. Let's talk over there. Don't go in, Brother Bing. Lin Feng said seriously, "Trust me." Qi Bing stared at Lin Feng and sighed. "Of course I trust you, often. But—" She stopped talking. Qi Bing said in a low voice, "This opportunity is very important to me. I know it's very risky, but actually, the Blood Assassin's missions are also very dangerous. It's worth it. Are you short of money?" Lin Feng's eyes lit up. A four-blood mission would cost tens of thousands of Nemo coins. 100,000 was enough. A pure Blood Saint Pearl or pure Miss Saint Pearl was worth 1 million Nemo coins. If he could get a pure Een Saint Pearl, he would earn 100 million Nemo coins. It was indeed worth risking his life. Qi Bing frowned and said nothing. "Here." Lin Feng took out 10 pure Blood Saint Pearls. "You can't, Feng." Qi Bing's expression changed as she said. Lin Feng took out another 10 pure Miss Saint Pearls. Qi Bing looked at Lin Feng in shock. "Still not enough?" Lin Feng immediately took out a pure Een Saint Pearl. At this moment, Qi Bing finally came back to her senses. Her face turned red as she jumped back in fright. "Enough, enough. That's too much, Feng." Lin Feng smiled. "Are you sure?" Qi Bing's face twitched. Looking at the 20 Saint Pearls in her hand, she smiled bitterly and nodded. "It's really enough." Holding in her hand, Qi Bing clenched it. Feng, I'm lending you 20 million Nemo coins." Lin Feng nodded. "Let's go back." Qi Bing smiled. "I'll listen to you. By the way, Feng, can you tell me, how much have you earned now?" "The number in your hand," Lin Feng replied. 10 million. Qi Bing shook her head. 200 million. Don't tell me it's 10 billion. Lin Feng smiled and didn't answer. "Then it's a deal, Brother Bing. See you at the camp." Lin Feng left directly, leaving Qi Bing with his back. Qi Bing's eyes widened as she watched Lin Feng leave. She took a deep breath and said, "This brat is really unfathomable." From his reaction, it seems that I didn't guess anything right. Don't tell me he earned 10 billion. That's too much. Qi Bing shook her head. "Forget it. I won't compare myself with this monster." Chapter 536. He would help if he could. Lin Feng was not a stingy person. When he first entered the Blood Fog Forest, Brother Bing helped him a lot. "Of course, I have to return the favor." Lin Feng sped up. A mere 10 million Nemo coins was just a drop in the bucket for him now. As for the other 4 blood killers, their lives had nothing to do with him. 1 trillion Nemo coins. Finally, I have enough money to buy a weapon. Although the 9 Secret Thunderblade was good, it was not of much help to his current strength. All 9 inscriptions were opened, and it was only the 9th level of Nether Holy Chi. Now the Thunder Dragon Holy Chi could be on par with it. When he broke through to Fetus Week, it would surpass it. At that time, the 9 Secret Thunderblade would only be a top Earth-level Earth treasure. 500 billion Nemo coins can buy the best low-grade Heaven-level Battle Blade. 1 trillion Nemo coins can buy a mid-grade Heaven-grade Saber. A.O. Lin can rely on a mid-grade Heaven-level 3-color Phantom sword to match a mid-grade Heaven-level Fetus Week 9. Although I may not be able to improve so much, it should be no problem to improve 2 or 3 levels. Moreover, this Heaven-level Battle Blade is enough to use until I enter the Nirvana world. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. There was one good thing about joining the Blood Cult, that was as long as you had enough money. You could buy it. Basically, it's all stolen goods. Lin Feng smiled. Blood Red had reached the peak. In the depths of the Blood Fog Forest, all kinds of Saint Pearls appeared like a geyser. Not only were the demon beasts crazy, but the blood killers were also crazy. The shocking power of the blood mist brought out many blood red pearls. Lin Feng's was just the beginning. The 10th one, Mad Bull, got it. This time it was Blood Shadow who helped to hold it back. Mad Bull got the first one. It's normal. Blood Shadow and Mad Bull are both under Blood Tower 30. They are close. The 11th one, Thousand Islands, Yufeng, got it. It's not surprising. The 7 blood killers have the advantage. This time, a total of 7 blood killers came. Except for Meng Xiao, they all got one. Lucky. I heard that last time, half of the 7 blood killers didn't get it. Whoosh. Lin Feng seized the time to obtain the Saint Pearl. 11 now. There's really a lot this time. Lin Feng sighed. Including the 2 he had obtained, he had a total of 13 beads. Moreover, The blood-red beads had just begun to descend, including the unknown blood beads, not to mention 20, even 30 beads were possible. When a number of blood beads reach a certain level, the proportion of luck would be reduced by a lot. Just like the last blood red, there were only 8 of them. Many of the 7 bloodshed assassins probably hadn't even seen a few of them, so how could they compete for them? He's one step ahead again. Qiu Baibu's face was gloomy. He was furious. He and Qian Luo were the first batch of blood assassins to enter the blood fog forest. In fact, he was slightly faster than Qian Luo. Including the 7 blood assassins, no one in the blood fog forest could match his speed. But up until now, the blood shadow had already gotten 2, and blowing snow had gotten 1. We can't win every time, Qiu Baibu said angrily. After all, he was only a 6th blood assassin. Although he was fast, he was inferior in terms of combat power. They were defeated by the 7 blood assassins time and time again. Up until now, his luck wasn't bad. He had seen no less than 4 blood beads, but he couldn't get a single one. Let me see it first. I'll definitely get it. I don't need to fight. I can easily escape. I won't be like that idiot Lu who can't escape. Qiu Baibu was very confident in his speed, but he never had a chance to show it. Actually, the first chance is the best. Thinking of that newcomer Lin Feng, Qiu Baibu was annoyed. At first, he wasn't sure of Lin Feng's identity and hesitated for a moment. After all, Lin Feng was just a newcomer. He had already killed him before Qian Luo came. It was originally mine. Qiu Baibu was full of resentment. A mere newcomer. He stole the blood-red bead that originally belonged to him. Suddenly, Qiu Baibu was startled. His gaze fell into the distance. A familiar figure flashed past. He would never forget it. It's him again, the newcomer Lin Feng. Qiu Baibu's heart was filled with disdain. But as he rolled his eyes, he was puzzled. A newcomer can survive in the blood fog forest with such speed. What did he rely on? Qiu Baibu's eyes flashed. I didn't see him cooperate with the other blood assassins. I also didn't see him fight or get injured. He's very strange. It seems he's hiding a lot of secrets. Now that I think about it, why was the first blood bead so coincidentally obtained by him? Why did he enter the blood fog forest one step ahead? Many thoughts appear in Qiu Baibu's mind. The more he thought about it, the more puzzled he became. Qiu Baibu's eyes lit up. He immediately followed. I want to see what secrets he's hiding. Someone is following me. Lin Feng was startled. Yes, young master, Xiaoyun said. He has been following you for a while. Lin Feng nodded. He was secretly vigilant. Have I seen him before? Lin Feng asked again. Yes, it's the white-clothed youth we met after obtaining the blood-red bead, Xiaoyun replied. Qiu Baibu. Lin Feng's heart trembled. Why is he following me? Question marks appeared in his mind. Lin Feng's expression became solemn. As Senior Qian Luo said, this person's scheming and strength were extraordinary. He was vicious and merciless. Now that he was following me, it was definitely not a good thing. Qiu Baibu's eyes became brighter and brighter. Following Lin Feng, he indeed discovered many secrets. 1 hour. I didn't even see the shadow of a demon god beast. Even if he has a perfect body, it's impossible for his perception to be so outstanding. He might have a treasure that can avoid ferocious god-demon beasts, or a rather powerful special treasure that can sense things. Furthermore, it's very likely a heaven-grade holy treasure. 300 billion newcomers. They must be rich. Qiu Baibu made a clear judgment. He didn't care if Lin Feng discovered him because it didn't matter. So what if he followed him openly? Killing a mere newcomer was like stepping on an ant. However, due to Qian Luo's name, there was no need to be ruthless if it wasn't necessary. But now, if I can't get the blood-red bead, I might as well find a deserted place to kill him. It's good to earn some money and get a few treasures. Qiu Baibu had already begun to plan in his heart. Others were afraid of Qian Luo, but he wasn't. He knew Lin Feng's background best. There were naturally risks, but it was within his control. As an assassin, taking risks was common. If he didn't take risks, how could he gain anything? A faint killing intent appeared, and the corners of Qiu Baibu's mouth curled up coldly. At this moment, what? Qiu Baibu's expression changed. Chapter 537. A Blood-Red Pearl. It appeared in front of him without any warning. Not only did Xiao Baibu's expression change, but even Lin Feng himself didn't expect it. However, the appearance of the blood-red pearl at this moment wasn't luck, but a disaster. This is troublesome. Lin Feng's expression changed. Behind him, a monstrous killing intent erupted. He could guess what Xiao Baibu wanted to do, but now what could he do? Not enough strength. Lin Feng was very clear about the current situation. In terms of battle strength, he was probably in the range of a 4-blood assassin. Once the power of the blood-red pearl exploded, it was possible to kill a 5-blood assassin. However, to kill a 6-blood assassin was not only difficult, but also impossible. He was only in the 9th level of Qi Cloud. I hope he stops while he's ahead. Lin Feng glanced at the blood-red pearl in front of him, but it was only a glance. He didn't change his direction at all. He continued to rush forward as if it was air. This action made Xiao Baibu a little stunned. Pa! Holding the blood-red pearl tightly. Xiao Baibu's chest rose and fell rapidly. After 3 days of hard work, he finally got a blood-red pearl. His heart was beating fast. Feeling the rich energy in his hand, Xiao Baibu's eyes were full of greed and desire. He was incomparably excited. He finally got the blood-red pearl he had dreamed of. Shua! Turning his head, looking in the direction Lin Feng left, Xiao Baibu's eyes flashed. This kid is smart. Abandoning a rook to save the king? Originally, it wouldn't have been a problem to let you live, but since you know that I obtained the Crimson Blood Bead, how could I allow you to spread the news? Xiao Baibu sneered, his killing intent not only not weakening, it became even more resolute. Whoosh! In Xiao Baibu's eyes. Crazy and greedy. He was very sure that this 300 billion newcomer must have a lot of wealth. He could even give up such a rare treasure like the blood-red pearl. It's mine. It's all mine. Xiao Baibu's eyes were blazing. He sped up again, displaying his strongest strength. It was wrong to talk about mercy to a jackal. They didn't care how much they had. They only cared about how much they could get. As expected, human nature is ugly. Xiao Yun's nervous voice sounded in his heart. Lin Feng sighed softly. The blood-red pearl was a gamble. He was betting that Xiao Baibu would stop when he was ahead. In the end, he lost. He was just as Senior Qian Luo had said, ruthless and insatiable, and he'd been following closely behind him. Obviously, he'd been plotting for a long time. We can only take that step. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. Originally, he was not willing to take this final step. But no matter what, he had to leave a way out for himself. Just like now. Titanium gray body. 6th stage. Lin Feng's speed exploded like a rocket. At this moment, there was no turning back. Fortunately, he had a blood-red pearl that bought him a lot of time. Otherwise, he would have had to take out the blood-red pearl in his pocket. Time was of the essence when escaping. He's much faster. Xiao Baibu's eyes lit up. His face was flushed red, and there was an indescribable sense of pleasure. It was as if he was a satisfied hunter chasing after a prey that had nowhere to run. Xiao Baibu laughed heartily. Lin Feng's sudden burst of strength made him even more excited. He must have guessed it. These 300 billion newcomers had a lot of good things on them, and these things would soon belong to him. Run. Let's see if you can run faster, or if I can catch up faster. You're overestimating yourself if you want to compete with me in speed. Ga. Xiao Baibu's eyes were bloodshot. His heartbeat accelerated, and he was incomparably crazy. He had been completely dominated. Closer and closer. The aura behind him, with a shocking killing intent. It was like a fierce tiger that was constantly chasing after him. However, Lin Feng's expression did not show any fear. His eyes flashed with determination. He had already made a plan in his heart. He was ready to retreat. Young master, are we really going to do this? Xiao Yun's anxious voice sounded. Is there a better way? Lin Feng said indifferently. This. Xiao Yun fell silent. She suddenly said, there are several powerful auras around us. One of them is approaching us. Perhaps we can't place our hopes on others. Lin Feng shook his head. Moreover, we can escape now, but we can't escape forever. Even if we can get through this, we've already killed each other. He will never let me return to the blood mist land. We have already underestimated his greed before. We can't underestimate him again, because next time, we might not even have the chance to escape. Xiaoyan nodded. She seemed to understand. Lin Feng smiled. Actually, it's nothing. Anyway, I've always been curious. Now, just as I wished. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He looked straight ahead. In the distance, there was a barrier that was faintly flashing with boundary patterns. It was full of mysterious and powerful power. The ancient seal, when he discovered Xiao Baibu, he had already changed his direction and headed toward the seal. He wanted to take precautions. Sure enough, things did not develop as he wished. Instead, they developed in the worst direction. He still attracted Xiao Baibu's attention. The ancient seal, Lin Feng muttered. 50%. He had always been curious. Whoosh, whoosh. Behind him, there was a strong sound of air being torn apart. Xiao Baibu's speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he was within 100 steps. His terrifying killing intent could be clearly felt. However, Lin Feng did not care. He knew what was going to happen next. Sizzle. The sound of something being torn apart resounded. Like a paper window being torn apart, Lin Feng directly passed through the layer of the seal. His figure disappeared with a whoosh. Even his aura had become completely non-existent. Lin Feng had left. Ha! Xiao Baibu's eyes widened. He stopped in front of the ancient seal. Xiao Baibu's face twitched as he stared at the boundary runes in shock. His mouth was slightly agape, and his cheeks were twitching. His complacency from before had long disappeared. His confidence that victory was within his grasp was now gone. His prey had slipped away from his grasp. Xiao Baibu's face became extremely ugly. Damned thing! Xiao Baibu clenched his teeth. His face was pale. The ancient seal. Naturally, he knew what it was. This idiot. With his strength, he can go to the Nirvana world. Humph! He won't be able to survive for more than an hour. He's courting death. Xiao Baibu was furious. He naturally would not follow Lin Feng to the Nirvana world, unless he lost his mind. With a spit, Xiao Baibu spat out a mouthful of phlegm. He was still brooding in his heart. A cooked duck had flown away just like that. He was extremely unhappy. Snorting angrily, Xiao Baibu turned around and was startled. His gaze fell into the distance. A blood-red figure was shrouded in darkness. The terrifying killing intent was like a ferocious dragon roaring. Blood Shadow? Xiao Baibu's expression changed. Chapter 538. Where is he? Blood Shadow's voice was soft and low. Xiao Baibu froze and asked subconsciously, Who? His eyes suddenly burned as he reacted. Xiao Baibu looked at Blood Shadow. Is there a second person here other than you and me? Blood Shadow's eyes pierced through Xiao Baibu. He entered the Nirvana realm. Xiao Baibu felt a bit guilty. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that so? Blood Shadow's voice was ice cold. A ray of light seemed to light up from his body, and the power hidden in his body suddenly erupted. A ferocious and ugly giant dragon soared into the sky behind him. Its skin was skin, and its bones were bones. Its ferocious and twisted appearance made it seem like an anomaly among giant dragons. However, its power was terrifyingly strong. Bloodline power. What do you want to do? Xiao Baibu panicked. Originally, he didn't care much about Blood Shadow. The same went for the other blood assassins. However, the fight for the third blood pearl made everyone remember Blood Shadow's name. In his fight with 7 blood assassin Meng Xiao, he had heavily injured his opponent and obtained the blood pearl. His battle strength was comparable to 7 blood assassins. Whatever you did to him, I will do to you. Blood Shadow was expressionless and his voice was cold. His hands opened like bone claws. The surrounding space suddenly froze. The huge binding pressure made Xiao Baibu shiver. Blood Shadow's voice sounded. Don't think about escaping. Although my speed is not as good as yours, you definitely can't escape from my palm. Xiao Baibu's breathing was rapid. His face was ashen. He finally remembered the rumor that the person who recommended the 300 billion newcomer Lin Feng. It was Blood Shadow. No. Xiao Baibu waved his hand. I didn't do anything. He went to the Nirvana realm himself. It really is you. Blood Shadow's aura became thicker. Blood light spread out from his body. The thick blood mist caused a strange scene. A crack opened on the forehead of the Blood Shadow, and a third eye opened vertically. Roar! Behind him, the hideous dragon's aura was extremely violet. You're looking for death. Blood Shadow's voice was like the Shura from hell. Such thick blood mist energy. Lin Feng's heart shook. They passed through the seal. They entered an area where the blood mist energy was extremely thick. It was far stronger than before. The blood mist was so dense that the range of vision was instantly reduced by several times. Xiao Yun's voice of surprise and joy rang out in his mind. Young master, the Yin energy here is so abundant. So abundant? Lin Feng looked at the scene in front of him and smiled bitterly. Numerous saint pearls were suspended in the air. They were transparent and turbid. The swirling clouds were the pure mist saint pearl. The blood-colored pearl emitted a dense blood-colored aura. It was the pure blood saint pearl. As far as the eye could see, there were at least several thousand of these two types of saint pearls. Ha! Lin Feng stretched out his hand and grabbed a row of 3 saint pearls arranged side by side. Rich Yin energy flowed into his hand, and Lin Feng's heart tightened. 3 pure Yin sacred pearls. As far as the eye could see, there were at least a few dozen pure Yin sacred pearls, and this was only a small area. It can't be. Suddenly, Lin Feng's expression froze. He stared blankly to the right. A pearl that was twice the size of the other saint pearls was quietly suspended in the air, emitting a faint light. In the middle of this blood-colored pearl, there was a clear drop of blood. Its existence was like the stars surrounding the moon, clear and dazzling. Blood-red pearl. Another one. Lin Feng smiled. This was the 4th one he saw, and the 3rd one he obtained alone. It was like entering a treasure mountain. Lin Feng was practically swept clean. After the shock, it wasn't calm, but an even greater shock. What he saw just now, it was just a drop in the ocean. The 90th one, the 300th one, the 310th one. Lin Feng mechanically put the pure Yin sacred pearl into his bag. In less than 5 minutes, the number of pure Yin sacred pearls increased by a total of 00. Lin Feng was too lazy to count the number of pure blood saint pearls and pure mist saint pearls. There were too many. He could casually grab a bunch, as if he had entered the land of saint pearls. The most terrifying was the blood-red pearl. The 5th one. Lin Feng obtained another blood-red pearl. These treasures that were fought over outside were like garbage thrown on the street here. No one picked them up at all. In a short time, he obtained 4, and this was just a small area that he had just entered. If he continued to expand, it was hard to imagine how many blood-red pearls there would be. This shouldn't be the Nirvana world. Instead, it's the other half of the blood mist forest that's separated by something similar to an ancient seal. Rumor has it that the Nirvana world's heaven and earth energy is 10 times denser than the 33 continents. The blood mist energy here is indeed 10 times denser than outside, but the heaven and earth energy is only 2 to 3 times stronger. The blood mist energy is abundant mostly because of the blood-red pearl. Lin Feng quickly judged. Although he wasn't completely sure, it should be so for now. Looking around, Lin Feng nodded with satisfaction. Although it was a huge risk to enter here, the result was gratifying. The only problem now was safety. Explore slowly. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come. There's no need to rush. Instead, we should thank Xiaobaibu. Lin Feng smiled, but there was a trace of cold, murderous intent in his smile. He wasn't a gentleman if he didn't take revenge. Puff! Xiaobaibu's face was pale, and his eyes were empty and powerless. Looking at the blood shadow in front of him, a deep fear rose in his heart. Even facing Qianluo, he was confident that he could escape with his speed. But under the blood shadow's terrifying restraint, he was like a turtle in a jar with nowhere to run. When speed didn't play any role, his strength was only that of an ordinary 6-blood assassin. But the blood shadow in front of him was a genuine 7-blood assassin. He was comparable to Nemo. Your storage ring. The blood shadow threw Chio Baibu's storage ring over. For a Saint Power cultivator, it was too easy to crack the storage ring's soul. Chio Baibu looked at the storage ring on the ground, his face ashen. He knew that the blood shadow had taken all the valuables in it. But it didn't matter anymore. He was going to die. What was the use of keeping the money? If you don't kill me, you'll regret it. Chio Baibu made a final struggle. He glared at the blood shadow and did the opposite. Even if there was only a 1% chance, he had to try it. What if he succeeded? The blood shadow looked at him emotionlessly and turned to leave. Chio Baibu was a bit stunned. He didn't expect the blood shadow's provocation to succeed. His ferocious face was a bit shocked. Looking at the blood shadow's back, Chio Baibu was a bit confused. Your provocation is terrible. The blood shadow's voice sounded. I won't kill you. I'll just keep you alive for now. When he comes back, I'll let him take revenge with his own hands. Him. Chio Baibu was stunned. He'll come back. He will. The blood shadow's voice was calm and firm. He won't die. He definitely won't. Chapter 539. This is an unexplored land. Greater than over equal to there are a lot of Saint Pearls and blood-red pearls. Not only because the blood mist is rich, but also because no one has obtained them. They have been accumulating for 3 days, so naturally, there are a lot of them. Lin Feng thought. Monsters like Little Yun absorb the blood mist's energy. Although they will also consume the Saint Pearls, it is not easy to digest them. They need time. Lin Feng casually took out another blood-red pearl. He was very calm now. The 12th pearl. Blood-red pearls were not rare here. It is a blessing in disguise. Lin Feng smiled faintly. If he sold all the blood-red pearls he obtained here, it would be a huge sum of money. However, this battle also sounded the alarm for him. One must always be vigilant against others. The principle of not showing one's wealth had been established since ancient times. Why do I need to rush out? The blood mist is rich in energy, and there is no one to disturb me. It is a rare place for cultivation. I can't find it even if I wear out shovels. Master, be careful. Little Yun's voice sounded. What's wrong? Lin Feng was puzzled. I don't know either. Little Yun whispered, I can faintly feel a very terrifying aura in this area, but I don't know where it is. Lin Feng felt a chill in his heart. Little Yun's senses would not be wrong. She was born with an extreme body, so her senses were the clearest in this area. Is it stronger than the upper-level demon god monsters? Lin Feng asked. Little Yun nodded. Much stronger. Lin Feng nodded. Although he had guessed the answer, when he received confirmation, his heart still sank. In fact, he had more or less thought about it. There must be a reason for this blood mist forbidden area to be strangely separated. Moreover, the source of the blood-red pearls did not seem to be in the Nirvana world, but in here. I understand. Lin Feng said softly. Chi, Chi. In the void, 2 flywheels formed a huge cross. An enraged fiend god-demon beast was brutally slaughtered. Blood blossomed from the cross that was shining brightly. It was as if it had stopped moving in the air. However, if one were to look at it from a close distance, they would be able to see that the huge cross was just an illusion. It was the brilliance emitted by 2 high-speed wheels. Ha! The cross wheel drew an arc in the distance as it returned. Lin Feng extended his hand to receive it. The cross wheel instantly condensed into a round object and landed in his hand. Not bad. Lin Feng was very satisfied. It was a high-level Saint Force earthly treasure, flywheel ring. He only spent 110 million in the auction and was lucky enough to obtain this treasure. It had 3 forms of attack, one of which was a heavy attack. Every form would have a huge increase in attack power and speed. What he used just now was the first form, cross twin wheels. Compared to the Dragon Abyssal Pearl, there's indeed a gap in power, but is indeed a pretty good offensive holy treasure. Lin Feng nodded. The Dragon Abyssal Pearl was not an offensive sacred treasure. To be exact, the Dragon Abyssal Pearl necklace was a type of saint treasure that assisted in cultivation. However, with the material of a heavenly ranked treasure, it was naturally not bad when used to attack. However, the Flywheel Huan was indeed an offensive treasure. Its structure and refinement were all born for attack. Cultivate the second form. 4 divisions open. Lin Feng's eyes were clear and bright. Because of Xiao Yun's reaction, it made Lin Feng change his mind. There was no need to rush. In any case, other than him, there was no one else in this blood mist forbidden area. The demon beasts absorbed more of the blood mist's energy, so the holy beads, including the blood beads, were not lacking. Since that was the case, there was no harm in taking it later. On the contrary, his strength urgently needed to be increased. 1 more point of strength means 1 more point of protection. Right now, I'm already at the 9th stage of the Qi Cloud stage. Right now, the blood red is very dense. Within 2 days, I will definitely be able to break through to the 9th stage of the Qi Cloud stage. At that time, my strength will increase greatly. Lin Feng was very clear. Close combat strength. It was very difficult to improve in a short period of time. However, the battle strength of the innate soul was different. With a treasure like the Flywheel Huan and the Dragon Abyssal Pearl Necklace, there was a lot of room for improvement. Right now, with the first form of the Flywheel Huan alone, he could kill a low-level fierce god demon beast. If he could learn the second form of the Flywheel Huan, coupled with the improvement of the innate soul, if I encounter a mid-level fierce god demon beast, I won't have to run anymore. Lin Feng began to cultivate the second form of the Flywheel Huan. The 4 divisions opened together. Unlike the first form, which only required 1 to control 2 flywheels, the second form required 1 to control 4 flywheels at the same time. Control and precision were all different. The cultivation of the 10 scrolls of flying daggers allowed 1 to control 10 flying daggers at the same time. It was a type of simultaneous control, similar to multitasking. However, the flying daggers did not focus on quality. In other words, one only needed to infuse a little bit of true dragon holy power into each flying dagger. However, the Flywheel Huan was different. It was an offensive holy treasure. To use the first form, there was a requirement of holy power. To use the second form, there was also a requirement. There would only be more. Therefore, the conditions for using the Flywheel Huan were to exceed the first grade of holy power in the first week of pregnancy or the first grade of holy power in the second week of pregnancy. If the level of holy power was not high enough, it could not be used at all. Although the Flywheel Huan is a high-level holy power earth treasure, its power is not inferior to a top-level holy power earth treasure. It's just that the difficulty of controlling it is too high and the conditions are too harsh. Lin Feng was very clear about this. Even his true dragon holy power in the 6th tier of pregnancy could only be used in the first form. After all, the true dragon holy power was not only beyond the first grade of holy power, it was the top of the first grade of holy power. For example, the Thunder Dragon Holy Qi was beyond the first grade of Holy Qi. However, above the Thunder Dragon Holy Qi, there was the existence of powerful thunder energy, such as the Calamity Thunder. The true Dragon Holy Power was equivalent to the Calamity Thunder. For rays of light formed the 4 divisions. Crisscrossing, the rays of light intertwined and became even more unpredictable. The power increased with each division formed by the rays of light. Compared to the first form, both the speed and the power of the attack had a brand new improvement. However, as the power increased, the difficulty of controlling it also increased by a lot. Crack! The rays of light formed the second division and instantly shattered. Lin Feng sighed softly and frowned as he pondered. It must be done in one go. The holy power has to be added quickly, and the control has to be done at the same time. The position of each flywheel has to be extremely precise, or else it won't be able to last until the 4th division. Time passed slowly. From the 1st division to the 2nd division, it took more than half a day. Now that the 3rd division had appeared, a day had passed. He was getting closer and closer to success. Every time he failed, Lin Feng was carefully analyzing and finding the reasons and mistakes. Change was in every detail. The days in the blood mist forbidden land were tense and steady. Whoosh, whoosh, the blood mist continued. Nearly 2 days had passed, and the blood mist outside the blood mist forest was almost finished. However, The blood mist here was still several times thicker than the peak outside. While Lin Feng was cultivating and mastering the second division of the flywheel, Xiao Yun's cultivation did not stop. Now, it was time for her to transform. Swoosh! His body shook violently, instantly waking Lin Feng from his thoughts. His eyes brightened. Ninth level of Qiyun breakthrough. Chapter 540. It was a natural breakthrough. As the last trace of blood mist energy was absorbed, the heaven's soul and earth's soul transformed almost at the same time. The huge cloud gathered essence, and the vortex in the center of the cloud rotated rapidly. A vortex crazily absorbed the surrounding energy. CC. The energy was constantly concentrated, and the gas in the center was constantly being squeezed. Lin Feng was already very familiar with the transformation of the cloud. This is the feeling. Lin Feng's mind was immersed. He didn't need to control it too much. When his mind relaxed, the powerful energy spread throughout his body. The first and second meridian diagrams were already emitting light. One was the bottom, and the second was the top. It was like two bridges upgrading their quality. It was like a two-story building had been built one floor higher. And at this moment, the third meridian diagram lit up. As expected, Lin Feng had been staring at the third meridian diagram. It was connected to the 7 great martial spirits. In the depths of his heart, it seemed to lead to the unknown and mysterious. There seemed to be a black hole and a vortex in his body, leading to a deep and mysterious world. It was empty. Pung. Lin Feng's mind shook. Woo! As the 7 great martial spirits lit up, a powerful suction force appeared in the depths of his heart. Lin Feng's heart condensed, and his whole body was once again sucked into the mysterious black hole space. A vast empty space, like the night sky, an endless black hole. There was no light, only the vortex in the depths. It was like the end of the world, the beginning of all things. The last time he entered was when the third meridian diagram was formed. The vortex has increased. The suction force in the center of the starry sky has also become stronger. Lin Feng carefully felt all of this, and his heart palpitated. Suddenly, as if it was a dream, the feeling of inner vision disappeared in an instant, and the third meridian diagram was restored. The 7 martial spirits were evolving along with the first and second meridian diagrams. And in the center of the third meridian diagram, in the mysterious heart, a power was also emerging. Qi. His heart rose, ready to move. Faintly, he could feel a domineering aura. It was a power hidden in the depths of his heart, like the existence of a peerless demon. His body was shocked, his blood boiled, and his cells were jumping. Lin Feng's heart was also beating rapidly. What a powerful force! Is this the power of the wisdom spirit? Lin Feng held his breath. The Overlord's battle prowess was absorbing energy from the third meridian diagram. The more powerful it became, the more it was controlled by the power from the heart. There was a surging domineering aura. The Overlord's battle prowess rapidly increased, and Lin Feng could vaguely feel that his control over his own body was similarly increasing. The battle strength of a second-grade Overlord. Lin Feng smiled. The power of the heart was illusory, but it was extremely powerful in terms of combat strength. For example, if you do the same thing seriously or casually, the results will be different. But if you do it with all your might, the results will be different. It was different again. On Earth, the power of the heart was more like a force, like a domineering force. Martial artists with tyrannical auras could destroy everything in their path in battle, making it impossible for others to resist. Those in the upper echelons of society were similarly powerful existences that made others respect, fear, and look up to them from the bottom of their hearts. If the army had the strength to win 100 battles, they would be able to win every battle. If I use the Overlord's battle prowess to drive the saber technique, the power will definitely increase by 1 level. Lin Feng was very satisfied. The third meridian diagram was real and existed. Lin Feng was extremely convinced, and the only way to cultivate the third meridian diagram was to cultivate both the innate spirit and the spirit of the earth. If the energy of the seven martial spirits was not equal, it was impossible to activate the third meridian diagram. Although it was only increasing the overlord's battle prowess, the level of the heart was still very clear. This was a kind of sublimation. The sublimation of the heart was like a grain of sand turning into a stream of water. Whoosh, whoosh, cells, skin, meridians, and bones were clearly strengthened. The depths of the sea of consciousness were also changing. Lin Feng had been staring at the third meridian diagram, where his heart was. The power that was stirring in the vortex black hole shocked his entire body. The power of the bloodline is extremely mysterious. Every martial artist who achieves a perfect body will activate the power of the bloodline. But where does this bloodline power come from? It's not the innate spirit, nor is it the spirit of the earth. There's only one place. Lin Feng was secretly shocked. In the depths of the heart, there was a great treasure hidden in the body. He also had it. My bloodline power is not a martial spirit, nor is it the true dragon holy power, but it hasn't been activated or awakened. On the Nemo planet, the purer and stronger the bloodline, the easier it is to awaken the bloodline power. In other words, the higher the innate mind expanse, it means that the second-generation human's bloodline is richer, and the easier it is to awaken the bloodline power. And I'm a third-generation human. My innate mind expanse is only 5%, so it's hidden a little deeper. Lin Feng smiled. It was not that he did not have the power of the bloodline. It was just that the concentration of the bloodline was too low, and it had yet to be fully excavated. Fetus first grade. Moreover, it was the dual cultivation of the innate spirit and the spirit of the earth. Lin Feng enjoyed the increase in strength and the transformation of his body. Not only was his vision wider, but even his senses were much clearer. The more he sensed the energy of heaven and earth, the more he could sense it, including the blood mist energy. This was the sublimation of life. Not only did his strength increase, but his cultivation senses also increased. But misfortune lurks behind good fortune. Be careful, young master. There are two mid-tier fierce god demonic beasts nearby. Xiaoyun's voice rang out. Lin Feng instantly came back to his senses. As his eyes flashed, the flywheel ring appeared in his hand, and the true dragon's saint power surged out. Control was on a deeper level. Including the improvement of the innate spirit, it also increased the true dragon saint power that burst out instantly. I can easily reach the third elephant. Holding the flywheel ring, Lin Feng was full of confidence even though he had not used it yet. Second form, for elephants open. Lin Feng began his attack. The four flywheels kept intersecting, and the four elephants appeared one by one. The bright light caused the giant golden dragon to roar. The mid-tier fierce god demonic beast in front roared violently, and the shadow of a demonic monkey appeared behind it. However, the four flywheels swept past, and it was instantly shattered. Whoosh! Lin Feng waved his hand, and the flywheel ring returned. The sixth fierce god demonic beast. Lin Feng vaguely felt that something was wrong. Before he broke through, he cultivated here for 2 days, and he only killed about 10 fierce god demonic beasts. However, in less than 10 minutes, 6 fierce god demonic beasts had appeared. Moreover, it was endless. Let's go, young master. 20 degrees to the north from the west, there are 2 upper-tier fierce god demonic beasts coming. Xiaoyun's anxious voice came. Lin Feng's eyes flashed, and he rushed to the east without hesitation. His current strength was still not enough to fight against upper-tier fierce god demonic beasts. Something is indeed wrong, Lin Feng thought to himself. Chapter 541. Roar! Roar! The roars of the fierce god beasts echoed throughout the forbidden blood mist. Lin Feng landed on a giant blue tree, his brows furrowed. The sudden rampage of these fierce god beasts was very unusual. If it was because of Shuejiang, there was no reason for the fierce god beasts to go crazy now that Shuejiang was on the decline. Moreover, they seemed to have come with a purpose. Looking for me? Lin Feng suddenly had this thought. At this moment, Little Yun's voice sounded in his mind again. Lin Feng stepped on the ground and flew into the air, leaving in an instant. From the calm and tranquil waves, it became turbulent. There was almost no moment of peace. The fierce god beasts in the forbidden blood mist were like an army that had suddenly received an order, running wildly in the blood mist forest. Screech! Screech! Lin Feng did not hesitate to attack. When Phelan Huan attacked, blood would definitely be spilled. He could kill low-tier and mid-tier fierce god beasts. Whoosh! Lin Feng touched the dragon pearl necklace with both hands. Rich, true dragon holy power instantly flowed into his mind, recovering the rapidly depleted holy power. If not for the support of the dragon pearl necklace and the huge amount of true dragon holy power, just these endless fierce god beasts alone would be enough to exhaust him to death. There must be a reason. Lin Feng understood. From his previous suspicions, he was now completely sure. The rampage of the fierce god beasts was too unusual. When he was outside the blood mist forest, he had not seen the fierce god beasts so crazy when they were absorbing the blood mist energy. Fortunately, I can kill mid-tier fierce god beasts. Lin Feng secretly felt lucky. There were many more mid-tier fierce god beasts than upper-tier fierce god beasts. If he had to hide from both, there would be nowhere to hide, given the size of the forbidden blood mist forest. But now, just upper-tier fierce god beasts. They were not enough to surround him. After all, they were in the open while he was in the dark. Little Yun's sensing ability was stronger than upper-tier fierce god beasts. Slap! Lin Feng grabbed a blood bead. It was worth 600 billion Nemo dollars. It was a precious item that was priceless in the 33 continents, but it was everywhere in the forbidden blood mist forest. It's the 36th, Lin Feng laughed bitterly. At this moment, the blood red in the blood fog forest should be nearing its end. It was unknown if there were a total of 36 blood red pearls. Even if he were to leave now, he would have already profited greatly after accidentally entering the blood mist forbidden area. However, he had only explored a corner of the blood mist forbidden area. If I were to walk through the entire forbidden blood mist zone, I would definitely find more than 100 crimson blood pearls, let alone 200, Lin Feng thought to himself. As for sacred pearls, they were as plentiful as the hairs on an ox. However, now that he was basically numb, he actually hoped to obtain a moment of peace. Young master, Xiao Yun's voice sounded again. Lin Feng shook his head helplessly. Even though there were not many upper-tier demon gods in the world, they were still able to survive. But he couldn't stop it from running around wildly, and he couldn't hide in a dark corner. Once his aura was discovered by an upper-tier demon god demonic beast, he would be in deep trouble. He would not be able to outrun it, let alone defeat it. Continue running. I can't go on like this. Lin Feng was now very sure that the fiend god demonic beast's rampage in the forbidden blood fog lands was most likely directed at him. Although he didn't know why, it was the truth. After chasing him for 6 hours, the fiend god demonic beast still showed no signs of stopping. They wouldn't give up until they reached the Yellow River. They couldn't catch up to him. It was just a waste of energy. But he couldn't make any mistakes. One mistake was enough to be fatal. Although he was already very cautious, no one could be certain about accidents. Especially in this forbidden blood fog lands, anything could happen. I have to think of a way. Lin Feng was deep in thought. Drag it out. It wouldn't be of any help to him. Find a hiding place that could conceal his aura? Difficult. Lin Feng thought to himself. If there was no other way, he might as well return to the blood mist forest. The crimson blood mist in the blood mist forest was coming to an end. Although the crimson blood mist in the forbidden blood mist lands was still dense, the amount that seeped out from the seals was decreasing. However, I might encounter Chiu-Bai-Bu, or I might expose the secret of the forbidden blood mist lands being able to pass through freely. Moreover, I haven't figured out the reason for the fiend god demonic beast rampage. Even if I return to the blood mist forest, I might be surrounded again. Lin Feng was hesitant. All kinds of methods appeared in his mind. There were pros and cons to all of them. Actually, the simplest method is to increase my strength. Lin Feng thought to himself, if my strength is enough to fight against an upper-tier fiend god demonic beast, I don't necessarily need to kill an upper-tier fiend god demonic beast as easy as killing a mid-tier fiend god demonic beast. Even if it's a tough battle, it's enough as long as I can kill an upper-tier fiend god demonic beast. If he could kill one, he would be able to kill a second or a third one. At that time, the number of fiend god demonic beasts would decrease. An upper-tier fiend god demonic beast strength is comparable to a 6-blood assassin, at Xiao Baibu's level. If he could kill them, he wouldn't need to be afraid of Xiao Baibu anymore. With the combat strength of upper-tier Zizhou, he could go anywhere in the 33 continents except for the Nemo realm. However, it was easier said than done. If I use the Dragon Pearl Necklace to increase my True Dragon Saint power to the 7th tier, my True Dragon Saint power will reach Zizhou. Lin Feng said softly, with Little Yun's 100% efficiency in cultivating her talent soul, and me practicing the last form of Flywheel Huan, there's a possibility of killing an upper-tier fiend god demonic beast. Let's do it. Lin Feng nodded, because he couldn't think of any other way for now. Crimson blood entered the end of the parabola. The density kept decreasing. However, this was the forbidden blood fog grounds, the origin of crimson blood. Compared to the blood fog forest, it was still much denser. His cultivation speed was naturally not bad. With the help of the Dragon Pearl Necklace, Lin Feng quickly crossed Feda's 1st tier, Feda's 2nd tier, and now reached Feda's 3rd tier. However, his progress was far from enough. 7 days have passed. I can only reach Feda's 4th tier in a short time. Lin Feng frowned slightly. His strength had also reached a bottleneck. From the 6th tier of True Dragon Saint power to the 7th tier, at the current speed, it would take at least a month. Previously, he thought that he could master the 3rd form of Flywheel Huan first, but he had been stuck for a long time. There's no shortcut to controlling Saint power. My foundation and skills are not enough. Plus, my talent soul's level is not enough. Just relying on the True Dragon Saint power is not enough to perform the 3rd form, Cycle of Destruction. It's very dangerous to follow the original plan. Lin Feng nodded. In these 7 days, the fiend god demonic beasts had not stopped. They were running around like crazy. There were a few times when he was surrounded by danger. There were even times when he had to pass through the Prohibition Shield to return to the Blood Fog Forest. Fortunately, the Crimson Blood had ended there. The number of blood killers was less than 10% of what it was before, so he was not discovered. However, being lucky once did not mean that he would be lucky every time. Let's change the method. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In these 7 days, he had a new idea. It might work. Chapter 542. Crimson Blood Beads. 56 Crimson Blood Beads. Lin Feng knew the number very well. He didn't collect too many in the past 7 days. He just wandered around the restriction seals. Even so, he had explored almost 1/3 of the Blood Mist Forbidden Land. He didn't need so many to sell. It was more than enough to sell 7 or 8 beads. There were about 200 beads in the entire Blood Mist Forbidden Land. Too many. Crimson blood beads have 3 functions. First, it can increase the concentration of the bloodline, similar to the humanoid fruit. Second, it can awaken and trigger the hidden bloodline power in the body. If it has been awakened, it can make the bloodline power stronger. Third, it can increase the ability to sense the Yin element, the blood element, and the mist element. Lin Feng remembered it very clearly, because for him, only the second function of the crimson blood beads was barely useful. The first and third functions were useless. Therefore, he didn't care too much about the crimson blood beads. Its biggest use was to exchange them for Nemo coins. But now, there were too many crimson blood beads. Since there were too many to use, why not turn them into practical use? I wasn't sure if I had the bloodline power before. Lin Feng remembered what he saw when he broke through the fetus week 7 days ago. He saw the advancement of the third meridian map and the deep and mysterious empty world. But now he was very clear. He had the bloodline power. However, he was a third-generation human after all. Compared with the second-generation human descendants, his bloodline was much weaker. Therefore, it was very difficult to awaken the bloodline. Like a mineral vein, the second-generation human ores were on the surface. The ores of the Nemo star human ores were 10 or 20 meters below the surface. But he, hundreds or even thousands of meters below the surface. His bloodline was hidden very deep. Legend has it that the ancestors of the human race had a tyrannical power, splitting the sky and earth, swallowing clouds, and exhaling fog. Even if only 1/10,000th of the bloodline is awakened, it is already amazing. Lin Feng thought lightly. The bloodline power was tyrannical and special. The most important thing was that it could be directly possessed. As long as it was awakened and stimulated, it would exist. For example, Xiaoyun's extreme body could also be regarded as the bloodline of the monster clan. The most famous blood killer in the Blood Tower this year, Blood Shadow. A year ago, I entered the Bloody Tower. When I first entered the newcomers' camp, I was suppressed and ridiculed. One day, his bloodline power suddenly awakened, and he became a dragon overnight. He was unstoppable. Not only did he become the most dazzling existence in the rookie camp, his promotion to Blood Assassin was like riding a ladder. In just half a year, he became a 6 Blood Assassin. Now, he's even comparable to the 7 Blood Assassins. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. This was the power of the bloodline, the greatest secret of the human race. Of course, there were strong and weak bloodline powers. Some had immense strength, and their bodies were tough and covered in scales. Some, like the Blue Moon clan, were naturally attracted to water. The 100 refining Saber Valleys Zhu Yu and Zhu Liang were born with a light speed physique. Senior Xiangyu was born with a lightning slaughter physique, Blood Shadow. It was even rumored that he could open his third eye, making him like a god. I wonder what my bloodline power is. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. Eat it directly. Gulp. The blood droplet entered his stomach. Lin Feng's eyes burned. A powerful energy burst out from the blood-red bead in his body. The blood-red bead gave off a shocking power. His entire body trembled slightly as he felt the divine and powerful power. It was like the existence of the heavens, perfect and mysterious. Whoosh, whoosh, the source of energy spread throughout his body. Such rich yin energy, blood energy, and fog energy. Lin Feng could clearly feel the 3 elemental energies. However, it wasn't just these 3 elemental energies. His skin and cells could feel a warm current. The energy of the blood. It was deep, powerful, and extremely pure. Bam! Bam! His skin was transforming. His body was changing. It was a process of purification. Impurities were removed. His skin became clear and translucent, and his cells became full of vitality. Lin Feng closed his eyes and felt the changes in his body. The shock in his heart turned into doubt. He instantly understood. Bloodline density. This is the first function, bloodline density. I misunderstood. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. The increase in bloodline density wasn't just related to the brain expanse. It was similar to that of the second generation of humans. From the second generation of humans to their descendants, as well as the third generation of humans on Earth, it wasn't just the brain expanse that deteriorated. It was the same for the body. His brain expanse and soul expanse could no longer be improved, but his body, there was a huge improvement. It's not the strength of the body. It's the internal changes. With Earth's technology, it's the genes. The inheritance of genes changed with every generation. Therefore, there were the second generation of humans on planet Nemo, as well as the third generation of humans on Earth. Cultivation was a postnatal process. For example, the second generation of humans were born with 100% brain expanse. However, the third generation of humans could also increase it to 100% step by step. There was no difference. For example, the second generation of humans were born with the strength of the Nemo experts. However, the humans on planet Nemo could also reach the level of their ancestors as they continued to cultivate. However, there were some things that couldn't be achieved postnatally. In other words, it was very difficult to achieve. The combination of bones, the condensation of skin, the strength of meridians. There were many. It was like building 2 foundations. One was perfect and the other was ordinary. If the same 10-story building was built, there wouldn't be any difference. However, if 20 stories were built, the difference would be obvious. One would be built quickly and steadily, while the other would be on the verge of collapse. One would need to constantly repair the foundation, which was time-consuming and laborious. If 30 or 40 stories were built, the difference would be even clearer. One could be built, while the other couldn't. The dense and refined bones are better for exerting force. The condensation of skin is good for amplification and defense. Just the titanium gray body alone will allow me to easily maintain the 7th level this time. Lin Feng nodded. The later stages of the titanium gray body, the higher the demands on the body and the greater the burden. He had been cultivating the 7th level for a long time, but had never succeeded. Just like the foundation, it wasn't stable enough before. The meridians are unobstructed. Not only will cultivation speed be faster, but the outburst of holy qi will also increase. Lin Feng was very satisfied. The humans on planet Nemo might not feel these changes because their bloodline was very pure. However, it was different for him. The increase in combat strength wasn't much. However, it was a leap in his future cultivation. The road ahead was wider and brighter. The improvement of the bloodline isn't just the yin energy, blood energy, and fog energy. It's also the improvement of all the energy of heaven and earth. Lin Feng pondered. It's not much, but it's comprehensive and balanced. It's a percentage increase. Lin Feng revealed a smile, but it was an unintentional gain. Originally, he had only considered the second function of the blood red bead. He didn't expect the first function to bring such a surprise. As for the second function, it's here. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Chapter 543. The essence of the blood drop. When it entered the body, it was like releasing all the external energy of the blood drop, leaving only the blood drop seed. As if it had a mind of its own, the mysterious and deep black hole in the middle of the 3rd meridian diagram sucked the blood drop seed into it. Whoosh! His heart was touched. It was like a sleeping dragon, absorbing nutrients. Lin Feng once again felt that mysterious and powerful energy hidden in the depths of his heart, ready to stir. The other world in the black hole shook gently, as if it was joyful. Then, like an earthquake, it went from rising to falling until it calmed down. Lin Feng waited. However, until his body completely absorbed and digested the energy of the blood drop, there was still no movement. It seems it's not enough. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. He didn't care. The strengthening and purity of the bloodline density was already an unexpected surprise. Continue. The second one. The third one. The fourth one. Lin Feng dodged the upper-level fierce god beasts while absorbing the energy of the blood-red beads. Each of them was a rare item worth 600 billion Nemo dollars, but he ate it like a sacred fruit. Such a waste was enough to make people dumbfounded. In the blink of an eye, it was the 10th one. It was equivalent to 6 trillion Nemo dollars going up in smoke. The strengthening effect of the bloodline density is decreasing. Lin Feng could feel it and also expected it. The body had a limit, including the bloodline. It couldn't be strengthened endlessly. Even if he ate the same kind of sacred fruit, the first one would have the best effect, and the subsequent ones would weaken, because the body would adapt. My bones, skin, meridians, and so on have changed a lot. They've become more suitable for cultivation and battle. Lin Feng clenched his fists. Bloodlines would change with the passage of time and the change of environment. The second generation of humans was born with a brain region of 100% and had the bloodline of the ancestors of humans, so they were naturally powerful. For example, his 8th senior brother was already traveling in the universe. But the second generation of human descendants in the Nirvana world were trapped here all year round and could only come in contact with the energy of the second universe. Bloodline. Naturally, it regressed. As for the third generation of humans on Earth, it was needless to say. 10 crimson blood pearls. My body's sensory ability has increased by about 100%. Lin Feng nodded. Although it was a gradual decrease, the cumulative increase was still considerable. In other words, in the future, his cultivation speed would increase by 100%. However, there's still no reaction for my bloodline power. Lin Feng was also helpless. He couldn't eat his fill. Sleeping in his body, the black hole vortex was like a huge dragon with a huge appetite. Droplets of blood seeds seeped in and were swallowed in one gulp. However, there was no reaction at all. It was as if he was digging a vein of or hidden deep underground. Each of the blood-red beads was like digging 10 meters deep. If his bloodline power was weak, he would have already activated 1 or 2 beads. But now it was still unfathomable. I don't know. Just how deep was it hidden underground? 0, 30, 40 pills. Lin Feng did not stop. In the end, he became completely numb to the blood-red bead. Even if his bloodline power could not be activated, the increase in bloodline density was not a waste. No matter how much money he had, it could not be exchanged for strength. As long as he was strong enough, he could earn back any amount of money he spent. Lin Feng was very clear about this point. 60. Lin Feng used up all the blood-red beads in his storage. Not a single one was left. My sensory absorption ability is about 3 times more than before. The current Lin Feng. Standing there was a very obvious change. It was not his appearance, but his body and temperament. His body was as pure as steel, and there was an indescribably powerful aura. This was the existence of a force. Counting the toughness of the meridians, the increase in width and endurance, the cultivation speed can be increased by 5 to 6 times. Lin Feng was very satisfied, because now he no longer needed to absorb holy crystals. Not only was the cultivation method faster, the efficiency was far better than holy crystals. And the increase in bloodline density was still continuing. Bloodline power. In fact, it is also changing. Lin Feng thought. Before, he could not feel its existence at all, but now he could vaguely feel that in the depths of the black hole, there was a sleeping power that was restless. The blood-red bead was like a carrot, gradually attracting it to the surface. Continue. Lin Feng was not discouraged. 70, 80, 90. As Lin Feng ventured deeper into the forbidden land of the blood mist, he obtained more crimson blood pearls and consumed them to stimulate his bloodline power. The effect of increasing bloodline density was constantly decreasing. It was already less than 1/10 of the first bead, but it was better in quantity. His continuous improvement had accumulated to a considerable amount. His bloodline was purifying. The purity of his bloodline was not inferior to the humans on Planet Nemo. It was even better. Lin Feng was slightly surprised. His bloodline power had not been activated, but he had explored a strange place. Different from the forbidden blood mist area, this place was quiet and empty like a forest. This place was a canyon, which was out of place. However, the blood mist energy here was much denser. Even though the blood-red bead had reached its end, it was still filled with blood mist and the energy of the tribulation lightning. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. He could vaguely feel the remnant energy of the tribulation lightning in the air. It was very faint. For him, who had endured all 9 bolts of tribulation lightning, he could clearly feel the energy of the tribulation lightning. Xiao Yun's voice suddenly sounded in his mind. "Young master, quickly leave this place." "What's wrong?" Lin Feng was puzzled. "There's a very uncomfortable and annoying aura here." Xiao Yun hesitated and said, "And it is very strong." Lin Feng's eyes burned. Xiao Yun had already felt it when he was in the blood mist forest. She hated the demon beasts of the wolf race the most. The tribulation lightning that had appeared that day was also a demon beast of the wolf race. However, it should only be a transformation stage tribulation lightning. How could it be strong? Lin Feng was puzzled. He looked around. This place was like a forbidden land of forbidden lands. There was not a single demon beast. It was very strange. The blood mist energy is so dense, and the terrain is so unique. This place is very likely the origin of the blood-red bead. Lin Feng's heart moved. Thinking of Xiao Yun's nervousness and the strange situations he had encountered, it became clearer and clearer. Everything seemed to point to this place. There must be a problem. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. He was not afraid and directly entered. Opportunities, dangers, and challenges were often in the same place. Ta! The moment Lin Feng entered, while a majestic aura instantly spread. It was like a lofty mountain, an existence of the heavens. The aura was incomparably terrifying. A flaming giant wolf appeared in the void. Its eyes were like blazing suns as it looked down from above. "Get out, human!" The giant wolf's eyes burned with flames. Chapter 544. Sky's Swallowing Wolf. Little Yun's shocked voice sounded. That was a fear that came from the bottom of her heart. She was completely suppressed by the aura of the giant flaming wolf. Lin Feng could clearly sense Xiao Yun's current emotions. Hatred and fear. It wasn't just hatred, it was fear, as if she was facing her natural enemy. Sky's Swallowing Wolf? Lin Feng's expression was serious as he looked up. Of course, he could sense the aura of this giant flaming wolf. Even the human language it spoke just now was incomparably clear. However, it was just an illusion. His sensing ability was outstanding. Although Lin Feng had not awakened his bloodline power, but whether it was the density of his bloodline or the level of his heart, they were both very high. The illusory giant fire wolf in front of him was like a fox borrowing the tiger's might. It was just an illusion. "Who are you?" Lin Feng asked directly. "Scram!" The giant fire wolf roared. "Otherwise, I will kill you. Leave quickly, young master." Little Yun shouted anxiously. Lin Feng was like an old pine tree. He stood tall. He just stood there calmly, not moving at all. "Leave quickly, young master." Little Yun was so anxious she was about to cry. This is a sky yao that cannot be provoked. Heavenly fae, like heavenly demons, were equivalent to human Nemo experts. "Don't worry, Little Yun," Lin Feng said softly. "Impatience makes one confused. Can't you see that he is just putting on an act? With the temperament of the Yao, if he could kill me, why would he waste words with me here? He would have killed me long ago. Moreover, with his strength, I cannot escape from his palm." Lin Feng was very calm. He had felt something was wrong long ago. The entire blood mist forbidden ground was very strange. Maybe this sky swallowing wolf was the answer. "You're not afraid of death?" The sky swallowing wolf's illusion flashed. A pair of cold eyes, as if looking at a dead person. The pressure was strong, showing the demeanor of a sky yao. "Can you kill me?" Lin Feng retorted. His clenched fists were sweaty. It would be a lie to say he was not nervous, but just as he said to Little Yun, with the strength of this sky swallowing wolf, if he wanted to kill him, he couldn't escape at all. Swallowing sky rising wolf sneered. "With your strength, I can burn thousands of you to death with a single flame." His words were full of arrogance, but Lin Feng knew that he was telling the truth. Not only was this a heavenly demon, but it was also a very powerful one. "Why are you trapped here?" Lin Feng suddenly asked. The sky-devouring young wolf had just opened his mouth when his expression suddenly changed. He roared, "Who said I'm trapped here?" Lin Feng smiled. True enough. It was just as he had expected. Cunning human. The sky-swallowing wolf gnashed his teeth and glared. "Even if I'm trapped here, I still have ways to kill you. Is that so?" Lin Feng did not back down. He looked at the sky-swallowing wolf and said, "With those fierce god, demonic beasts." The sky-devouring lion wolf snorted, unable to refute. "Let me guess." Lin Feng looked up at the sky. "It should be the change in the energy of heaven and earth that caught your attention when I broke through to Fetus Week. So you sent those fierce god, demonic beasts to kill me, right?" The sky-swallowing wolf's fiery red eyes were burning. "Don't try to challenge my patience, human," the sky-swallowing wolf said slowly. "I really want to kill you. With your strength, you can't leave at all." Their eyes met. Lin Feng looked at the sky-swallowing wolf and found it hard to tell if he was telling the truth. It seemed that he was really confident that he could kill him. "Let's make a deal," Lin Feng suddenly said. "Take back your order and have the fierce god, demonic beast stop chasing me. In 3 days, I will leave after collecting the Saint Pearl and Blood Pearl." The sky-swallowing wolf sneered. "Greedy human, why should I agree to your condition?" "I don't care," Lin Feng said indifferently. "You can continue to let the fierce god demonic beasts chase me, but they can't kill me in the past 8 days. It's the same even after 80 days. The Saint Pearl and Blood Pearl here will fall into my pockets sooner or later. And you, a powerful sky demon expert, will have to endure a puny human like me for many more days. There was silence. Lin Feng looked at the sky-swallowing wolf. He was also weighing the pros and cons in his heart. This was a gamble. It was also a test. A test. All right, I'll give you 3 days. The sky-swallowing wolf's voice was low, his eyes burning. After 3 days, I don't want to see you again. Lin Feng smiled slightly. Swoosh. Lin Feng sped through the blood mist forbidden ground. Other than plundering the Saint Pearl and Blood Pearl, he was also observing every corner of the blood mist forbidden ground. The blood red was coming to an end. As the fierce god, demonic beast, devoured the blood mist energy, it gradually thinned. In less than 3 days, this place would return to normal. When the blood red ended, there was no difference where one cultivated. Young master, you are so bold. Little Yun's voice still had some lingering fear. I'm also taking a gamble. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. By the way, is the sky-swallowing wolf very powerful? Little Yun nodded lightly. Among all the known bloodlines of the wolf clan, the sky-swallowing wolf is ranked in the top 3. It's the opposite of us five-tailed snow foxes. The sky-swallowing wolf is born with a young negative physique and has top-notch fire talent. It matches perfectly with its physique. It can be said to be the king of the wolf clan. There are even fewer of them than us five-tailed snow foxes. I see. Lin Feng pondered. Are you five-tailed snow foxes very afraid of the wolf clan? Yes. Little Yun's voice was a little sad. The reason why we five-tailed snow foxes are so rare is because of the sky-swallowing wolf. They are more abominable than humans. They eat our flesh and drink our blood to strengthen themselves and balance yin and yang. A yang negative physique, yin negative physique. Lin Feng nodded in realization. He had guessed correctly. They were indeed natural enemies. He quickly swept through. Lin Feng did not miss any part of the blood mist forbidden land. Previously, due to the demon god demon beast, he could not explore in detail. But now, he no longer had any scruples. As the saint beads and blood beads fell in his pocket, Lin Feng quickly explored the border of the blood mist forbidden land. The real ancient seal. It was very similar. It's almost exactly the same as the restriction seal in the blood mist forbidden land. If one is not proficient in the Tao of inscription, it will be difficult to distinguish. Lin Feng looked at the ancient seal carefully. There were only slight differences in the patterns, but in reality, the difference was huge. One was natural, like the work of a master. The other was similar in form, but not in spirit, like the work of an imitation. Closing his eyes, Lin Feng could not feel any aura on the other side of the ancient seal, even though his sensing ability had greatly improved. Nirvana world, Lin Feng murmured softly. He heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he continued to explore. 3 days was long enough. Lin Feng naturally did not waste any time. In fact, if it was purely to plunder the saint beads and blood beads, it would not even take half a day. The reason why he needed 3 days was that Lin Feng naturally had his own plans. Including the probing of the sky-swallowing wolf, it was all intentional. Young master, what are you looking for? Little Yin quickly discovered Lin Feng's purpose. Chapter 545. Find the demonic beast he wants to protect. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Xiao Yun was surprised. I don't understand, young master. Do you still remember the lightning tribulation? Lin Feng floated in the air and looked around. The blood fog had thinned a lot, and his vision was much clearer. We have been in the blood fog forbidden zone for many days. Actually, there's no difference between this place and the blood fog forest outside. The only difference is that the blood red originated from here and then seeped out of the restriction. Previously, I thought that there were many demonic beasts here that took the path of transformation. But that is not the case. I haven't seen a single transformed demonic beast except he is the sky-devouring wolf demon king. Xiao Yin was deep in thought. She seemed to understand Lin Feng's thoughts and said, Young master, you mean The lightning tribulation of transformation might be related to the sky-devouring wolf demon king is not a possibility. Lin Feng said, "It is certain." Let me ask you, if you were the sky-devouring wolf demon king, would you agree to the request of a lowly human? Xiao Yun muttered, "I don't think so." Lin Feng nodded. Their statuses were different. How could they have the right to negotiate? He is a high and mighty demon king. Furthermore, it is very likely that he is an expert amongst demon kings. I'm only a first-grade embryonic rel warrior. Just as he said, a single flame can burn thousands of people like me to death. Lin Feng smiled. He is not exaggerating, nor is he wrong. But why would he accommodate an insignificant ant like me? This does not match his status. Not to mention, humans and demons have always been irreconcilable. Normally, he would try his best to kill me. Even if he could not kill me, he would not let me have an easy time. He would not compromise easily. Xiao Yun murmured. So he is doing this for the demonic beast that survived the lightning tribulation of transformation? Lin Feng nodded. There is an 80% possibility. It is also possible that there is some secret hidden in the blood fog forbidden zone. For example, a very precious treasure or a mechanism that will affect his safety. Wait, I'm not sure now, so I've been searching. Young master, you're amazing. Xiao Yun praised in surprise. Lin Feng smiled and shook his head. Maybe I guessed wrong, because I didn't find anything after searching for so long. I don't feel the aura of a demonic beast in the transformation stage either. But there's still time, Lin Feng said. Yes. The next day, innate soul, fetus 4 steps. Before the crimson of blood completely ended, Lin Feng achieved a breakthrough as he wished and stepped into the fetal stage. He temporarily gave up on cultivating the soul of the earth and switched to cultivating the innate soul. He had achieved considerable results. Unfortunately, there was still a long way to go before the true Dragon Saint power could reach the 7th tier. Actually, I could try Flywell Huan's 3rd form right now. Lin Feng thought to himself. Indeed, his strength had not increased, but the density of his bloodline had been strengthened. His control over his body and his control over his strength had improved significantly. It shouldn't be a problem. Lin Feng smiled. Inexplicably, he was filled with confidence. However, there was no time to try the final form of eternal cycle destruction. One more day, Lin Feng sped up again. He really dug 3 feet into the ground. Blood mist forbidden area. He had searched more than 3 times. He did not miss any details. He had obtained countless saint pearls. Although he had used 60 crimson blood pearls before, he still had 135 pearls in his storage ring. As expected, the total number of crimson blood pearls was close to 00. However, these were all expected gains. There was no surprise to speak of. Could it be that I guessed wrong? Lin Feng frowned. There were only 3 hours left before the time limit. He had already searched all that he could. Unless he crossed the ancient seal and entered the Nirvana world, the blood mist forbidden area was only so big. Impossible. Xiao Yun's senses can't be wrong. There is indeed a transformation lightning tribulation, unless this demonic beast did not survive and died. Lin Feng was silent. This possibility, it wasn't small. There were countless demonic beasts that died in the lightning tribulation, but what he was very concerned about was the attitude of the heaven-swallowing wolf. He was obviously swallowing his anger. With his strength and status, there was no need for him to accommodate a small human like him. My judgment shouldn't be wrong, Lin Feng thought. Young master, are we still going to look for him? In his heart, Xiao Yun's timid voice sounded. Lin Feng knew that Xiao Yun was afraid of the heaven-swallowing wolf. No need. Lin Feng had just opened his mouth when his heart suddenly moved. He asked, Xiao Yun, when you saw the heaven-swallowing wolf demon king 3 days ago, did you investigate that area? Xiao Yun was a little confused and didn't know what to do. I know. Lin Feng instantly understood. He understood everything. It was no wonder that she didn't even have time to escape when she met her natural enemy. She was terrified. So how could she remember to investigate the surrounding area? Previously, he subconsciously thought that the canyon wasn't big. Plus, he had already investigated it, so he didn't pay attention to it. You just missed out on Xiao Yun. One careless mistake. It's there. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. It's more than 90% likely. Human, why are you still here? The moment he stepped into the canyon, Lin Feng saw a huge flaming wolf figure in the void. Its roar shook the heavens and earth. The heaven-swallowing wolf's aura was rather shocking. Swoosh! Lin Feng didn't answer and directly passed through. Xiao Yun was completely stunned by the heaven-swallowing wolf's aura. She was like a mouse seeing a cat. Her aura was weakened, and she couldn't detect his aura at all. However, that wasn't important. That was because the blood-red mist had already dissipated. The blood-red mist forest had returned to its normal state. Visibility was clear. You shouldn't have come here. Get out, human. The heaven-swallowing wolf was furious. The blood-red mist figure in the void exuded a terrifying power. Just its aura alone was enough to scare ordinary warriors out of their wits. However, the heaven-swallowing wolf had the wrong idea. Lin Feng's mental state was rather high. His willpower wouldn't waver at all. Instead, strong on the outside, weak on the inside. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The angrier he was, the more he wouldn't let him search. It meant that he was hiding something. Lin Feng was extremely fast. The canyon wasn't large. While his aura sensing was blocked by the heaven-swallowing wolf's aura, his vision wasn't blocked. A golden pagoda-shaped building entered his vision. The powerful aura came from the pagoda-shaped building. It seemed to be where the heaven-swallowing wolf was, but a layer of golden patterns flashed around the pagoda-shaped building. It was filled with mysterious and powerful energy. Beside the golden pagoda-shaped building was a ball of fire. Looking closely, it was a fiend beast with flaming fur. It was like a miniature version of the heaven-swallowing wolf. That's it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Human. In the void, the heaven-swallowing wolf's eyes were filled with rage. It seemed to have gone mad. Chapter 546. Sky-devouring wolf. Another sky-devouring wolf. However, compared to the majestic heavenly demon in the air, the sky-devouring wolf in front of him was much smaller. Not only was its aura weak, but its size was also very ordinary. It seemed to be injured. Lin Feng instantly felt the remnant tribulation lightning energy on the small sky-devouring wolf's body. No wonder it's so urgent. Lin Feng completely understood. A hysterical roar sounded in his ears, as if it was going to break a hole in the sky. Lin Feng didn't care. His expression didn't change. The 9U thunder saber in his hand was ferocious. Lightning surged, bringing a saber strike as fast as lightning, tearing the space apart and shattering the silence. Dong! The small sky-devouring wolf suffered a painful blow. It was only at the first level of the transformation stage, and it was injured in the tribulation lightning. It was severely injured by Lin Feng as soon as they met. No matter how excellent the bloodline, no matter how good the talent, it was nothing if it couldn't be used. Although the sky-devouring wolf was the king of the wolf clan, its combat power was at most a few levels higher. Lin Feng in front of it, but he had the combat power to kill a mid-level demon god. The difference was too big. Human. In the air, the sky-devouring wolf demon king's eyes were spitting fire. Its aura was terrifying, like a fiery demon king from hell. If looks could kill, Lin Feng would have died countless times. However, from the very beginning, this demon king-level existence had already been seen through by Lin Feng. He was like a bird in a cage. Take him away directly. Lin Feng didn't say anything. His actions were decisive and straightforward. After knocking out the small, sky-devouring wolf, Lin Feng didn't stay for a moment. In a flash, he left the canyon. The sky-devouring wolf demon king's furious roar sounded in his ears. Its murderous aura shook the earth and the sky. But that was all. The thunder was loud, but the rain was small. Whoosh! Lin Feng quickly left the canyon. Let it go, human. I can give you treasures of equivalent value. The sky-devouring sun wolf demon king's voice was filled with rage. It was hard to imagine that such a high and mighty expert would compromise with an ant at his feet. Thud! Lin Feng stopped. Oh! Lin Feng was slightly surprised at the suggestion of the sky-devouring lion wolf. This was somewhat unexpected. He did not expect the sky-devouring rising wolf demon king to pay such a price. In addition, more than 99.9% of the forbidden blood mist had been explored. What other treasures were there? Lin Feng suddenly recalled what he had seen in the center of the canyon. The golden pagoda-shaped building was surrounded by strange and mysterious patterns. It seems that there is more to the story. Lin Feng was moved. Despicable and greedy human. Seeing that Lin Feng had stopped, the sky-swallowing sunshine wolf gnashed its teeth. The huge wolf head in the air was filled with anger. Lin Feng looked back. Their eyes met. Seeing the sky-devouring sun wolf demon king's murderous aura, Lin Feng said in a low voice, "Powerful demon king, I am very interested in making a deal with you. However, you don't seem to be in stable mood right now. Give us some time. We will talk again in 10 days." The sky-devouring sun wolf demon king was stunned. Without giving him any time to think, Lin Feng left with a swoosh. His clear voice echoed in the canyon. "If you are not sincere, then let's go our separate ways. There is no need to talk anymore." His voice echoed. In the center of the forbidden blood mist, the canyon was really empty at this time. Only the huge wolf in flames was left in the air. "Human, I will kill you." The sky-devouring lion wolf's furious voice reverberated. "Young master, you are so powerful." Little Yun's voice was full of admiration. She could not hide the joy in her heart. Facing the sky-devouring lion wolf, who was like a natural enemy, little Yun was terrified from the bottom of her heart. But now, the sky-devouring sun wolf demon king, who made her unable to raise her head, had suffered a severe setback in front of Lin Feng. Not only that, Lin Feng had even captured a small sky-devouring sun wolf. This was simply unimaginable. The five-tailed snow fox clan had always been bullied by the sky-devouring lion wolf clan. Actually, I didn't expect it either. Lin Feng smiled. To be able to capture a small, sky-devouring sun wolf alive. It was a completely unexpected gain. He had thought of many possibilities, but he did not expect to be so lucky. The sky-devouring lion wolf demon king had been deliberately protecting and hiding was actually a small sky-devouring lion wolf. And it had a very close relationship with him. By the way, young master, a demon king expert must have a lot of wealth. Why didn't you make a deal with him? Little Yun did not understand. A deal depends on the timing. Different times yield different profits. Lin Feng smiled and said, "There is no harm in letting him be anxious. The initiative is in our hands. The more anxious he is, the more important the small, sky-devouring sun wolf is to him. At that time, we will be able to earn more. Moreover, his emotions are not right now," Little Yun said in surprise. "A deal is also related to emotions." "Of course." Lin Feng nodded. "We humans have an old saying, impulsiveness leads to trouble. It means that when you are impulsive, you do things wrong. He is now in a state of rage. He hates me to the core. He can't wait to kill me. How can he make a deal with me? The result will definitely be a parting of the deal. Maybe he is stalling for time, luring upper-tier demon gods to surround the entire canyon, forcing me to hand over the small, sky-devouring sun wolf," Lin Feng said slowly. This was what he feared the most. Therefore, he did not stop for even a moment. It was different in the blood mist forbidden land. Even if the sky-devouring sun wolf demon king could sense his approximate location, because he could leave at any time, he would have to inform the demon gods. It would not be easy to catch him. However, it was different in the canyon. His location was fixed, and he would be easily surrounded. At that time, he would not be able to escape even if he had wings. "Sister told me before, but I didn't believe it." Little Yun's voice sounded. "It turns out that humans are much smarter than us. No wonder Sister wanted me to take the path of transformation." Lin Feng smiled. "This is not about being smart, Little Yun." Lin Feng looked at the prey in his hand. "It's just better to be safe than sorry." Time. Lin Feng was in dire need of time. Improve his strength. Without strength, he would be led by the nose. Originally, he planned to make a profit and leave. However, the attitude of the sky-devouring sun wolf demon king made him change his mind. Just as Little Yun said, A demon king must have a lot of wealth. If he did not make a profit, he would be letting himself down. But before that, I need to at least have the strength of an upper-tier demon god before I can talk to him with a straight back. I'll make a good profit. Lin Feng swallowed the crimson blood pearls. The path of cultivation continued. Although the 60 crimson blood pearls had been used up, there were now 135 new pearls. Although he did not know if he could awaken the sleeping dragon in his body and stimulate his bloodline power, one thing was certain. His bloodline would be strengthened once again. 10 days. That's enough time. Lin Feng sighed softly. How much he could earn this time depended on how confident he was. The sky-devouring sun wolf demon king was definitely not a kind person. Chapter 547. 80 beads. 100 beads. 120 beads. The effect was weakening, but he could clearly feel that the improvement of his bloodline was a process of perfection. It was a way to remove the impurities in his body, to refine his body, and to bring out the potential hidden in the deepest part of his body. Lin Feng enjoyed all of this. He didn't care whether he could awaken his bloodline power or not, because it was something that would happen naturally. It's actually a mineral vein. Some people's mineral veins are shallow. Some people's mineral veins are deep. But when you dig to the bottom, it will definitely appear. Lin Feng knew very well what was at the bottom of the mineral vein. It wasn't just bloodline power. It was a true second-generation human. Increasing bloodline power, the blood red pearl, is actually very precious. It's not something that can be measured by money. Lin Feng thought. Previously, he thought that the price of the blood red pearl was too high, but now it seemed that he had underestimated it. This was a treasure that was truly hard to find. However, the blood mist forbidden land is too mysterious. Not only does it have blood red, but it also has something as rare as the blood red pearl. In addition, there are restrictions similar to ancient seals, the sky-swallowing sun wolf trapped in the canyon, and the mysterious golden pagoda. There seems to be a big secret hidden within. Lin Feng sighed softly. The more he explored, the more he found that the blood mist forbidden land was not simple. But with his current strength, it was too difficult to explore and uncover the secrets within. Moreover, with his current strength, knowing too much might not be a good thing. Lin Feng then took out another blood-red bead and swallowed it. Gulp, it was as calm as ever. But this time, it was different from before. Whoosh, whoosh, a powerful suction force came from within his body. The third meridian diagram shone brightly, but it wasn't the change of the 7 martial souls. It came from the center of the meridian diagram, the mysterious and unknown black hole vortex where the heart was. It came from the depths of his heart, from a distant power. Dong, 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 his heartbeat quickened. Lin Feng's divine sense instantly condensed. He was pleasantly surprised. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Although he had never experienced the awakening of his bloodline power, this feeling didn't need to be recognized. It was an instinct, the awakening of his instinctive power. The bloodline has arrived. Lin Feng could clearly see the drop of blood fuse into the black hole vortex. In the depths of his sea of consciousness, the golden dragon roared. It seemed to have also felt the birth of a powerful force. With his heart as the origin, the mysterious and unknown starry sky world shook from the other side of the black hole vortex. Rumble, waves of power began to awaken. Like a sleeping dragon, he stretched lazily. The slight fluctuation caused the entire body to change. Lines of golden arcs appeared on every part of his skin, as if they were ancient marks. The mysterious engravings seemed familiar. There seemed to be a totem imprint on his forehead. It was faintly discernible and radiated a brilliant light. A strange and powerful energy transformed into streams of flowing light and merged into his body. Blood cells, skin, BZT, 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 the power was released without end. Lin Feng's heartbeat quickened. He welcomed his brand new bloodline and the powerful strength hidden in the deepest part of his heart. Releasing and absorbing time after time, his body was being subtly changed and influenced. Time passed slowly. The power of the bloodline is indeed related to the concentration of the bloodline. Lin Feng came to a realization at this moment. If the concentration of the bloodline is not enough, if the body does not change, it will be like scattered energy units. It cannot bear the full power of the bloodline, or the transmission of the bloodline power will be affected. Only when the concentration of the bloodline is enough and the body changes into a suitable whole can the bloodline power be awakened. The concentration of the bloodline was like an irregularly shaped container. Bit by bit, it was integrated and filled in, removing the gaps and filling in the gaps, causing the concentration of the bloodline to turn into a pentagon, a quadrilateral, and slowly become a perfect circle that could contain the bloodline power of the same circle. Then, the two would truly merge. Blood fog, forbidden ground, canyon golden pagoda. Damned human, how dare you threaten me? I'm the dignified heaven demon emperor Wulin. If not for the fact that I am unwilling to give up my cultivation, why would I tolerate this inferior human? Infuriating. An expert that was truly like an emperor. Heavenly Beast Emperor Wuluin was covered in top-grade heaven-class treasures. His entire body was covered in raging flames. He was furious. The terrifying flames were enough to burn the entire blood fog forest to ashes. Even a rank 9 expert would be destroyed in body and soul if touched by just a little bit. Sizzle, however, the heaven-defying flames could not break through the golden patterns in front of him. 7th day. There's still 3 days. Let's see where you can run to. You even dare to snatch my essence blood demon seed. You're courting death. If you can swallow it, I will make you explode and die. Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin had an arrogant expression. His eyes flashed. He had already set up an inescapable net and was waiting for Lin Feng to come. He was prepared to be a turtle in a jar. He was not afraid that Lin Feng would swallow or destroy his essence blood demon seed, because it was impossible. He was only afraid that Lin Feng would do nothing and bring his essence blood demon seed to the blood fog forbidden area. That would be troublesome. 7th day, 10th day, 15th day. The awakening of the bloodline required a long time. This was because it was a change in the level of life. It was a qualitative improvement and a complete rebirth. For Lin Feng, it was exactly what he wanted. The longer it took, the better. The longer it takes to awaken the bloodline, the higher the level of the bloodline. Of course, it is also related to the level of one's strength. It is only 15 days. Lin Feng let out a breath and slowly opened his eyes. Unheard of. He had never heard of a bloodline that took half a month to awaken and merge. Even the most popular newcomer of the Blood Tower, Blood Shadow, who was famous in the newcomer camp and created a legend of a grassroots counterattack, only took 7 days to awaken his bloodline. It was twice as long for him. Blood Shadow's bloodline power is already the best on the Nemo planet. Therefore, he received the best treatment and training from the Blood Tower. His life was smooth sailing, and he became a 6th blood assassin in just 1 year. The best bloodline and the best training. In the Blood Tower, Blood Shadow was a legendary existence. The merge is over. Lin Feng clenched his fist and smiled. He could clearly feel the difference in his body. His perfect body was different. His whole person was brand new. He looked at it. At this time, the golden lines on his skin had disappeared. The looming totem mark on his forehead was also gone. Even the 3rd meridian map was no longer shining. However, the power did not disappear. Because the bloodline power was an instinctive existence, it did not need to be controlled. This is my bloodline power. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly brightened. He was extremely shocked. I'm a little busy today. Sorry, everyone. I will make up for it tomorrow. Chapter 548. Blood Mist Forbidden Ground, Canyon Golden Pagoda. After setting up an inescapable net, Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin waited for Lin Feng's arrival with great confidence. He was prepared to be a turtle in a jar. However, 10 days passed with no sign of him. 12 days passed peacefully. When the 15th day passed, Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin could no longer hold back. What is he doing? Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin's eyes burned with anger. As a Heaven Demon Emperor, he had been played like a monkey by a human. When had he ever been so humiliated? Could it be? He guessed my purpose? Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin was a little hesitant. He recalled the sincerity that the humans said before leaving. He did not pay much attention to it at the time. After all, it was just the words of an ant. However, after careful consideration, he felt that this ant was not simple. Perhaps he was not strong, but the strongest aspect of a human was cunning, treacherous. If you don't have sincerity, let's go our separate ways. There's no need to talk anymore. Heaven Demon Emperor Wu Luin frowned and muttered to himself. In fact, he was not afraid of going their separate ways. What the human wanted was the bloodline and inner core of the heaven-devouring eclipse wolf. But what the ant obtained was not a normal descendant of the heaven-devouring eclipse wolf. Essence Blood Demon Seed. Heaven Demon Emperor's Essence Blood Demon Seed. Even an ordinary Nemo expert would explode and die if they consumed it, much less a human. He's still here. Let's wait a little longer. Heaven Demon Emperor Wuluin was already wavering, but he was unwilling to give up. Losing a few treasures was a small matter, but being threatened by an ant, if this spread, he would lose face as a Heaven Demon Emperor. Humans have always been greedy. I don't believe you can hold back. Heaven Demon Emperor Wulin gritted his teeth and looked at him coldly. Leave him hanging. On the other side, Lin Feng was not in a hurry. The so-called 10-day period was just a casual remark. Even if his bloodline had not awakened, he would not have kept the appointment. He had expected that the heaven-devouring eclipse wolf would not be easy to deal with. After suffering such a huge loss, how could he swallow his anger and negotiate with him? The demon race's emotional intelligence was far from that level. Young master, your whirlpool body is powerful. Little Yun was pleasantly surprised. I did not expect it either. Lin Feng smiled. Golden veins flashed on his skin and connected with a golden arc. Like engravings, they were filled with mysterious power. All the golden arcs condensed into one, with the black hole vortex at the heart as the center. The bloodline formed and condensed into a vortex pattern. 3 layers of whirlpools. The vortexes were thin. He didn't know what kind of bloodline it was, so he temporarily called it the whirlpool body, which was like a whirlpool. Big Sister said that our 5-tailed snow fox's extreme body is the best in the Nirvana world. Xiao Yun praised in surprise. I didn't expect young master's whirlpool body to be so powerful. I've never heard of a human with such a powerful bloodline. I've never heard of it either. Lin Feng murmured. The 5-tailed snow fox's terminating body was already at the top of the demonic beasts. Even if humans and demonic beasts had different bloodlines, forcibly absorbing the terminating body would only result in a 10% or even lower compatibility. However, the Nya-Mo expert Ao Jianhui still coveted it, which showed how precious it was. However, his whirlpool body was even more heaven-defying. Hiss, Lin Feng operated the 5 refinements heart diagram, wantonly absorbing the true dragon's saint power. The flashing golden engravings were like a machine operating at high speed. The 3 layers of whirlpool power sucked in the true dragon saint power in the air at an extremely fast speed. It was very different from the extreming body. The extreming body would only be effective when absorbing and cultivating the attribute energy of heaven and earth. However, the whirlpool body, whether it was saint power or saint chi, had an effect that was not inferior to the extreming body. The extreme body's method of absorption was like spinning silk, while the whirlpool body's method of absorption was huge. When absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, the difference was very obvious. The extreme body's absorption was mainly based on energy. The energy of heaven and earth was used as a supplement, and then turned into all the energy of heaven and earth to be absorbed by the talent soul or the earth soul. However, the whirlpool body directly absorbed all of it, so the effect was naturally better. It also worked on the whole body, which meant that the talent soul and the earth soul could be absorbed at the same time. If the extreming body only increased the earth soul, the whirlpool body's speed would be 15 times faster. If the extreming body cultivated 2 souls at the same time, the efficiency would be halved, and the overall speed of the whirlpool body would be 3 times faster. It was 3 times faster than one of the top bloodlines in the Nirvana world. This was the whirlpool body. Most importantly, it is perfectly compatible with the cultivation of all Saint Chi and Saint Power. Lin Feng was very satisfied. The extreme body was useless to him, who did not cultivate the Yin attribute energy of heaven and earth. However, the whirlpool body could be used for Thunder Dragon Saint Chi, Dark Devil Saint Chi, Alcade Saint Chi, True Dragon Saint Power, and True Pupil Saint Power. All of them. Also, the whirlpool body is not only suitable for cultivation. Lin Feng smiled slightly. Good wine sank to the bottom of the urn. The bloodline that he had spent so much effort to awaken was indeed extraordinary. Perfect body plus whirlpool body, together with the absorption effect of the Dragon Pearl necklace. The cultivation of the true Dragon Saint Power was like sitting on a ladder. It was upgraded every day. Originally, it was estimated that it would take a month to reach the 7th level, but now it had reached the limit of breakthrough in just a few days. From the 6th level to the 7th level, it was the evolution of the first week to the 2nd week. The most important step. I've finally broken through. Lin Feng listened to the roar of the golden dragon. The growth of the embryonic star in his sea of consciousness was like an embryo hatching and entering a new level. Its power began to awaken. The child star emitted a golden light and condensed the essence of the true Dragon Saint Power. Its quality increased. The shining child star completely lit up the entire sea of consciousness. Lin Feng knew that as the true Dragon Saint Power increased to the 2nd week, he could finally straighten his back and have the power to face the experts of the 2nd week. The power of the heaven swallowing sun wolf appeared in his mind. Although it was still far from his level, but he could no longer control him. Wait, I'll be right there, Lin Feng said softly. Blood mist forbidden ground. Roar! A giant tank with a spiral horn more than 10 meters long charged over. Behind it, the image of a blood-red bull with red eyes flashed. It was bloodthirsty and terrifying. Dust flew everywhere. Its terrifying power shook the heavens and the earth. Its speed was no slower than Xiao Baibu's back then. Its attack power was even more powerful in the blood mist forbidden ground. An upper-level demon god beast. However, will destruction. A voice resounded. The 8 speedily rotating wheels formed a gear that changed its shape irregularly. The golden dragon roared as it passed by. Rays of light pierced through, and blood splattered everywhere. The giant tank roared miserably. The 8 wheels merged and separated, then merged again. They pierced through from all directions, like 8 dazzling bayonets being unsheathed. Chi! 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 The wheels directly twisted. The giant tank fell to the ground, its body torn apart. Tragic death. Swoosh! The wheels returned to Lin Feng's hands. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He turned and left. Chapter 549. Lin Feng exploded. He had been suppressed in the blood mist forbidden land for too long. If not for the fact that he couldn't defeat these upper-tier fierce god demonic beasts, why would he need to hide? Right now, it was time to take revenge. Zizhou's true Dragon Saint Power was the top Saint Power of the Super Grade 1. Its power was terrifying. It could be seen from the results of the battle in the blood mist forbidden land. It was a one-sided slaughter. Lin Feng's identity changed from prey to hunter. The inner cores of the upper-tier fierce god demonic beasts fell into his pocket and became food for Xiao Yun. It wasn't that he was addicted to killing, but he was killing chickens to scare the monkeys. It was a secret battle with the sky-swallowing sun wolf. In order to get the most benefits, he had Tobe in an invincible position. Blood mist forbidden land, canyon golden pagoda. The heavenly demon Emperor Wu, Luan's expression became more and more unpleasant. The news of the upper-tier fierce god, demonic beasts being slaughtered kept coming. He knew very well what this meant. 1 or 2 might be lucky, but killing dozens or even hundreds in a short time was definitely not luck. What is this? Is this a demonstration? Or do you want to tell me, do you have what it takes to negotiate with me? Wu Luan's eyes were about to crack. The flames on his body kept spewing out, making sizzling sounds in the air. It was terrifying. The second day, the third day, the fourth day, Lin Feng killed until the blood mist forbidden land was covered in blood. The roars of the fierce god demonic beasts could no longer be heard. The entire blood mist forbidden land was empty and dead silent. Even the invincible seven blood assassins couldn't kill as easily as Lin Feng. This was because their power and Saint Qi would be exhausted. However, Lin Feng had the Dragon Nightmare Pearl necklace to quickly recover. The fierce god demonic beasts were afraid. They were not without intelligence. They also knew how to make choices and how to seek luck and avoid danger. Lin Feng's strength made them lose the courage to resist. He was like an invincible existence in the law of the jungle. The retreat of the fierce god demonic beasts made Lin Feng stop killing. He had achieved his goal. It's time to meet him. Lin Feng put away the flywheel sword. Above, it was stained with blood. In just 4 short days, the harvest of the inner core alone had allowed little Yun to advance to the 9th level of the transformation stage. She was only 1 step away from the transformation lightning tribulation. With the interminating physique and the crazy absorption of the whirlpool physique, the soul of the earth was pulled from the 1st level of the embryonic stage to the 3rd level of the embryonic stage. He entered the blood fog canyon again. He was no longer nervous and uneasy. He no longer had to be careful. Lin Feng calmly walked into the territory of the heaven-devouring rising wolf. In the void, the huge wolf's head had fiery red fur. Its ferocious eyes were filled with bloody light as it stared straight at Lin Feng. The man and the demon looked at each other, both trying to guess what the other was thinking. Are all humans so untrustworthy? Wu Luan's cold eyes shone with a fiery light. It depends on who I'm dealing with. Lin Feng tried to defuse the situation. The hatred between humans and demons was overwhelming. Despicable human, Shaman Luan said in a deep voice, "You trespassed into my territory and abducted my clansmen. Such actions are extremely vile." Lin Feng smiled. He did not argue. It was unintentional to say more words. He threw the little heaven-devouring rising wolf to the ground. Powerful sky demon expert, let's not beat around the bush. Today is actually very simple. I came because of your proposal. If you can persuade me, then its life will be spared. If you can't persuade me, I'll take it away. I believe you know how valuable a heaven-devouring rising wolf is to humans. As for benevolence and morality, don't you find it strange that it comes from the mouth of a demon? Lin Feng smiled and shrugged. Humans and demons have always been at odds with each other. Where is benevolence and morality? I forgot to tell you. I come from the Blood Tower. I'm a blood assassin. Besides benefits, other things. I don't understand. Lin Feng looked indifferently at the heaven-devouring rising wolf sky demon. There was nothing to say. There was nothing to be afraid of. Even if he did not offend him, he would offend him. The sky demon expert in front of him could easily kill him. Even if he groveled, it would not change anything. If he could come out, he would die. If he could not, no matter how he provoked him, it did not matter. The situation, very clear. Negotiation. As a human and the leader of the Elemental Merchant Alliance, Lin Feng was naturally good at negotiation. Needless to say, he had the upper hand. In Earth's words, he held the most crucial bargaining chip in his hand. A small heaven-devouring rising wolf. Let's see how important this heaven-devouring rising wolf is to him. Lin Feng did not dodge as he looked straight at the towering and terrifying figure in the void. He had seen many of them and did not find them terrifying. Instead, he was curious about the strength of the sky demon expert. How strong was he? Just the shadow alone was already this strong. If not for his perfect body and his strong willpower, ordinary warriors might not be able to withstand it. There was silence. Time seemed to stop. The air froze like an ice sculpture. At that moment, Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Luan's heart sank. He knew the value of the heaven-devouring rising wolf's bloodline to humans. This was not an ordinary heaven-devouring rising wolf, but his essence blood demon seed. Even a Nemo expert would find it difficult to absorb it. The problem was, once the negotiations failed, Lin Feng would take away his essence blood demon seed. When the time came, it might be sold. Even if other humans absorbed the essence blood demon seed and died, he would not be able to get it back. Damn it! Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, gritted his teeth in anger. The value of an essence blood demon seed was much higher than that of an ordinary heaven-devouring rising wolf. To him, it was a priceless treasure. Human, I'll give you 30 blood-red pearls. Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, finally spoke with a gloomy expression. In terms of value, they are several times more valuable than my clansmen. Oh, Lin Feng's heart stirred. He has blood-red pearls? Lin Feng naturally knew how much they were worth. Just as the heaven-devouring rising wolf had said, the value of 30 blood-red pearls far exceeded that of a heaven-devouring rising wolf. Excluding the blood-mist forbidden land, the blood-red pearls only appeared once every few decades. The total number of blood-red pearls produced might not even reach 30. I understand. Lin Feng nodded gently. The blood-red pearls are probably all in his pocket. 50. Seeing that Lin Feng did not speak, Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, counted again. His fiery eyes stared straight at Lin Feng. Human, don't push your luck. Lin Feng looked up and suddenly asked, how many blood-red pearls do you have? Why are you asking? Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Luan's eyes turned cold. Lin Feng smiled. Let me guess. Every blood-red pearls. There are on average 200 blood-red pearls. Every 10 years, they're all in your hands. Heaven Demon experts are easily over 1,000 years old. Counting the 500 years you have been imprisoned here, you should have 10,000 blood-red pearls, right? You're only giving me 50? Roar! Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Luan's eyes spat fire. He said angrily, you're the one who's been imprisoned for 500 years. Who told you that there are 200 blood-red pearls every time? Who told you that every 10 years? Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, was so angry that flames were spewing out. I only have 1,352. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. So, you've been imprisoned here for more than 150 years? Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, widened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng in shock. Chapter 550. Lin Feng was actually guessing. However, from the expression of the heaven-devouring sun wolf, he knew that he had guessed correctly. How did you know? Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, stared intently at Lin Feng, his gaze filled with fear and suspicion. This was exactly what Lin Feng hoped for. The more unfathomable and unfathomable the other party was during a negotiation, the more often he would have an advantage. Lin Feng smiled and didn't explain. In fact, it was very simple. The last time the blood-red beads appeared was 3 years ago. This time, he had obtained 193 blood-red beads in the blood-mist forbidden land. The other one was obtained outside and wasn't included. As far as he knew, the occurrence of blood-red beads was very irregular. It could happen in a few years, decades, or even centuries. The logic was the same as a volcanic eruption. The more it accumulated, the greater the eruption, and the more blood-red beads it condensed. If he were to obtain 193 beads in 3 years, 135 would take 161 years. If he reported 150 years, the chances of guessing correctly were naturally very high. I also know that the blood-red beads are completely useless to you, said Lin Feng. Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, snorted disdainfully. I'm a mighty Heaven Demon, the Arch. It's rare to find a natural treasure that's useful to me. So, you're using the blood-red beads that are useless to you to fool me? Lin Feng asked. It's useless to me, but it's useful to you. Lin Feng shrugged. I'm already a perfect body. I don't cultivate the Tao of Yin. What's the use of the blood-red beads to me? This. Heaven Demon, the Archmagus Lin, was taken aback. But you don't need it. It's the same even if you sell it. Lin Feng extended his right hand as blood-red beads appeared. I have a total of 195 blood-red beads on me. I have so many that I can't use them all. The Nemo coins I can obtain from selling them all are enough to last me a few lifetimes. Even if you give me 500, it's useless to me, much less 50. It was like throwing away a pair of worn-out clogs. Lin Feng was well-versed in negotiations. Heavenly Demon Emperor Wuluan was dumbfounded by his impassioned speech. He had originally wanted to use the blood-red pearls to bargain. At most, He would give a little more to appease this greedy human. However, the other party had voluntarily given up on the blood-red pearls. His plan was completely disrupted. Is there anything else? Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Of course, he wanted the crimson blood pearl. He didn't know before, but now that he knew the importance of his bloodline, how could he not want the crimson blood pearl? Bloodlines were very important. Lin Feng now clearly understood that the stronger the bloodline, the higher the upper limit. Not only could the upgrade of his bloodline bring him closer to the second generation of humans, it could also awaken the power of his bloodline. The vortex was not the end. It was a starting point, a drop in the ocean. Lin Feng still remembered the signs of his bloodline power awakening. In the deepest part of his body, it was like a sleeping dragon stretching its back, causing his entire body to transform. Although the transformation was intense, it was only a small part of it. It was like the excavation of a mine. Right now, he had only dug to the top of the mine. Down below, there were even more vast mineral beds, and even purer and more valuable minerals. He needed more blood-red pearls. How about this? I'll give you an upper-grade, heaven-level sacred fruit, ancient mash. Heavenly Demon Emperor Wu Lin looked over. It's quite valuable in the Nirvana world. For a human to become a Nirvana expert, 1 needs to have a perfect body and 2 needs to fuse with holy chi. Condense enough energy, but the failure rate of holy chi fusion is as high as 90%. Once the fusion fails, your strength will greatly decrease. It's very likely that the enemy will take advantage of this. But during the fusion, with the help of this upper-grade, heaven-level sacred fruit, the success rate of the fusion will greatly increase. By how much? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. A heavenly demon expert was indeed extraordinary. Wu Luan looked over. Not necessarily. If it's a fusion between the 5 elements, the success rate can exceed 90%. If heaven and earth holy chi fuses with the 5 elements, the success rate is only 50%. If it's a fusion between heaven and earth holy chi, the success rate won't exceed 20%. But no matter what, the improvement is certain. Ordinary people don't even have a 1% success rate when fusing heaven and earth holy chi. It hit the soft spot. Lin Feng knew very well that the heavenly demon wolf was alluding to him. Although he had a perfect body, he had no secrets in front of him. It was obvious what kind of holy chi he cultivated. Even so, his suggestion was very tempting. Senior Bai Yun had told him that the failure rate of the first holy chi fusion was more than 99%. In the Nirvana world, the failure rate of holy chi fusion was more than 90%. Although his bloodline was thick and his combat strength was strong, he was clueless about holy chi fusion and had never come into contact with it. Lin Feng looked at the heavenly demon wolf and shook his head. I'm not interested. Is there anything else? Avoid the main force and go easy. The more useful something was to him, the lower its value. For example, the upper-grade heaven-level holy fruit, ancient wine, might be of great help to him, but what use was it to the heavenly demon wolf? In the Nirvana world, the treasures that were truly valuable were targeted at Nirvana world experts, not those below. Whoosh! Wu Luan's expression turned cold as he stared at Lin Feng. Suppressing his anger, he said, 2 upper-grade heaven-level holy fruits of pure energy, ebony immortal plant. What's pure energy? Lin Feng asked curiously. Wu Luan snorted. There are many types of holy fruits. The basic type, such as the common heaven-level mortal fruit, can improve bloodline purity. The special type, such as the upper-grade heaven-level holy fruit, ancient wine. The ebony immortal plant belongs to the pure energy category. Simply put, it contains pure heaven and earth energy. Lin Feng understood. So for the body to absorb directly? Wu Luan said in a low voice, for the current you, it's very beneficial. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Indeed, after consuming it, he would be able to quickly increase the level of his innate soul and earth soul. But I don't need it. Lin Feng rejected it directly. For him, who had the whirlpool body and the extreming body, the difference in strength was no longer a problem. Chi! Heaven Demon Emperor Wu Luan was infuriated. He was a heaven demon emperor, and now he was selling treasures like a merchant. Yet, he still had a look at the face of an ant. When had he ever suffered such humiliation? If not for the importance of the essence blood demon seed to him, he would have turned hostile long ago. However, no matter how unwilling he was, the situation forced him to lower his head. Human, my patience is limited. Wu Luan's terrifying aura enveloped the entire canyon, bringing with it waves of pressure. Okay. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. For his point of view, he was far from reaching the limits of the heaven-devouring, rising wolf heaven demon. Every time, he would take out more valuable treasures. Chi! Flame spewed out. Wu Luan suppressed his anger, and a white light flashed in his hand. A cross-shaped crystal covered in diamonds appeared. To be continued. Chapter 551. High-grade heaven-tier holy treasure, cross-shaped glass. It can release a glass barrier to block attacks. It can completely defend against attacks below the Nemean realm. In terms of value, a holy treasure of the same grade surpasses a holy fruit. Heaven Demon, the Arch Wu Luan, explained patiently. However, Lin Feng shook his head. I don't want it. High-grade heaven-tier holy treasure, dark puppet. Summon a dark elemental puppet. It has the strength of a great sky demon. It can be used as a mount or in battle. I don't want it. Mist Evil Spirit Array. Those below the Nemean realm will definitely die if they enter. Those above the Nemean realm will also be trapped if they don't know the array. It can block, trap, and kill enemies. It has many uses. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. Roar. Violent flames splattered everywhere. In the void, heaven-devouring Sun Wolf was enraged. His bloodshot eyes were burning as his fur stood on end. Those bloodshot eyes could devour Lin Feng. It was intolerable. Heaven Demon, the Arch Wu Luan, didn't have a good temper either. Lin Feng remained indifferent. As the Sky Demon looked at the raging flames of the heaven-devouring Yang Wolf, he understood. He was almost at his limit. It wouldn't do him any good to drag this out. Sorry, Heaven Demon Arch. It's not that I don't want to make a deal, but the treasures you mentioned are of limited help to my strength. Lin Feng looked at heaven-devouring Sun Wolf and smiled indifferently. Forgive me for being curious. Is this all a mighty heaven demon the Arch has? It was better to provoke him. From his interaction with heaven-devouring Sun Wolf, he was very arrogant. Indeed. Bullshit. These are just some trash. I have plenty of treasures. Heaven Demon, the Arch Wu Luan, raised his brows angrily. But why should I give them to you? He snorted coldly. Wu Luan said disdainfully. At most, we'll break up. No one will gain anything. Anyone can brag. Lin Feng smiled. Do you have any human mental and martial arts? Wu Luan glared at him. What do I need that for? Lin Feng thought that it was a pity. Compared to treasures, he valued mental techniques and martial arts more. The mental techniques and martial arts that the Heaven Demonic Emperor took out would naturally not be ordinary. But thinking about it, it was useless for him to want a human's heart sutra. He probably didn't expect that he would make a deal with a human. That can improve light, lightning, and darkness. Holy fruits with 3 different aptitudes? Lin Feng asked again. Wu Luan frowned no. Lin Feng shrugged. He looked at Shaman Luan and smiled. Such an expression immediately infuriated Wu Luan. He clenched his teeth, and in an instant, a huge black battle blade appeared in his hand. Supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Scorpion. It used to be the weapon of the primordial heavenly demon of the Qiyu clan. It was forged from the highest grade dark scorpion metal. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. The transparent dark luster was filled with the dark aura of the demon race. The saber seemed to be made of countless crystal fragments. A powerful force was hidden. It floated in the air, and a horrifying dark aura could be seen clearly. Black demonic fog floated on the tip of the saber. It was terrifying. This was a real treasure. Compared to it, the cross-colored glaze and dark scorpion paled in comparison. The Qiyu clan. Lin Feng thought to himself. He had heard about it when he was in Wei Na. Qi Hong, who was ranked first on the Demon Star list, belonged to the Qiyu clan. The Demon Star list. It was the Demon Star list. Qi Hong was equivalent to the celestial pavilion's goddess Wakaman. Now that the heaven-swallowing sun wolf mentioned it, it was obvious that the Chiyu clan belonged to a large clan among the demon race. During senior brother Xuanyuan's time, the great heavenly demon Chiyu appeared on Earth. With the heavenly saint weapon, Tiger Soul, he was invincible. Fortunately, 8th senior brother helped. Otherwise, the third generation of humans would have been destroyed. Lin Feng remembered it clearly. The little witch doctor was of the Chiyu bloodline. One of the reasons he entered the Nemo planet this time was to find the little witch doctor. He wanted to find the Chiyu clan and find a way to cure the little witch doctor. Supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise. The weapon of the primordial heavenly demon of the Chiyu clan. Lin Feng was tempted. He had a special liking for sabers, not to mention a supreme grade heavenly saint weapon. The super strong Chiyu, who had been famous on Earth for a long time, was only a great heavenly demon. In terms of strength, he was inferior to the primordial heavenly demon. The difference in their weapons was obvious. The supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise, might be stronger than the legendary Tiger Soul. However, Lin Feng looked at the heaven-swallowing sun wolf warily. All this time, the heaven-swallowing sun wolf had only given him superior grade heaven-rank treasures. It was very strange that he suddenly took out a supreme grade heavenly saint weapon. In terms of value, superior grade and supreme grade heaven-rank treasures were more than 10 times different. This was especially so for weapons. They were the most valuable among holy treasures of the same grade. There's something fishy, Lin Feng thought. The heaven-swallowing sun wolf was not stupid. Still not satisfied, the heavenly demon divine, Magus, widened his eyes. You don't even want a supreme quality heavenly saint weapon. Piss off, you greedy human. Piss off as far as you can. I don't have time to entertain you. The sky-devouring sun wolf raised his head proudly. He gave off a domineering presence. Lin Feng did not say anything. There was definitely something wrong with the supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise. The heaven-swallowing sun wolf's acting was very clumsy. He was not really angry. He was just forcing himself. Staring at the supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise, Lin Feng's heart was beating very fast. To be honest, he was very tempted. This strange Black Tortoise was very attractive to him. Even a superior grade heavenly saint weapon would be worth it, let alone a supreme grade heavenly saint weapon. The problem was that the higher the grade, the stranger it was. Phew! Lin Feng sighed softly. He looked at the heaven-swallowing sun wolf and asked, Heavenly Demon Divine Magus, can you tell me where the gap on the blade is? The Heavenly Demon Divine Magus said proudly. I broke it. Lin Feng nodded secretly. The heaven-swallowing sun wolf was stronger than he had imagined. He was even stronger than the primordial sky fiend. To be honest, I'm interested in the heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise. Lin Feng said slowly. There was no need to choose anymore. He could not choose anymore. After all, the heaven-swallowing sun wolf's patience was already at its limit. What he needed to do now was to maximize his profits. Is that so? Magus Lin glanced at him coldly. Lin Feng nodded. However, I don't think I need a heavenly saint weapon now. Also, I don't know if the gap will affect it. Besides, what effect can it have? Magus Lin sneered and interrupted him. You humans love to bargain. Just say what you want. I can give you some trash. Don't talk nonsense. His expression was very unnatural. Lin Feng was now certain that there was something wrong with the heavenly saint weapon, Black Tortoise. What kind of problem was it? It's worth the risk. Lin Feng quickly made his decision. Instead of taking a superior grade heaven-rank treasure, he might as well take a gamble on this supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, just like how Feilun Huan had obtained it during the auction. Chapter 552. Since the Heavenly Demon Emperor is so generous, I will not stand on ceremony. Lin Feng took advantage of the situation. I will add 2 ebony sandalwood immortal plants, 1 ancient wine, and 500 crimson blood pearls. He purposely put the crimson blood pearls last to minimize its value. Actually, to Lin Feng, the crimson blood pearls were the most important. It was even more valuable than the supreme grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Skeleton. Regardless of whether it was the holy fruit or holy treasure, he would have them once he was strong enough. However, the crimson blood pearls were different. Wu Luan sneered. "Human, you have such a big appetite," Lin Feng said. "After all, these things are dispensable to you, heavenly demon emperor." Wu Luan raised his eyebrows and said proudly, "That does not mean I will give them to you. Greed is insatiable. A supreme-grade heavenly saint weapon is dozens of times more valuable than the transaction price." Wu Luan snorted and said, "However, since I've asked, I will not be stingy. How about this? Pick one of the 3 things you mentioned." "Only one?" Lin Feng looked at Wu Luan. Wu Luan closed his eyes and did not reply. He realized that it was very disadvantageous to make a deal with a human. Time passed slowly. Lin Feng pretended to be in deep thought. He was not in a hurry. In fact, he already had an answer in his heart. However, if he made a decision too quickly, it would arouse the heavenly demon wolf's suspicion. Moreover, Lin Feng was thinking about the heavenly saint weapon, Black Skeleton. What was the deal with this weapon that came from the primordial heavenly demon of the Qiyu race? Have you thought it through? Wu Luan was getting impatient. Lin Feng frowned. "If you have something to say, say it." "Heaven Demon Emperor," Wu Luan shouted. Lin Feng nodded and looked at the heavenly demon wolf. "I want the crimson blood pearls. I can sell them in the Nirvana realm. However, their value is much lower than the holy fruit, ebony sandalwood immortal plant, and ancient wine. I wonder if you can give me more?" Wu Luan sneered. "Greedy human indeed. How many do you want?" Lin Feng answered, "All of them." Wu Luan frowned. 135? Lin Feng nodded and shook his head. "It doesn't seem worth it." "Wait, how about?" "I think about it again." Actually, the 2 ebony sandalwood immortal plants were more helpful at this stage. With the holy fruit ancient mash, the fusion of holy qi, a black line appeared on Wu Luan's forehead. Seeing that Lin Feng was about to fall into deep thought again, he immediately interrupted. "Stop dilly-dallying. I'll give you all the blood-red pearls, 135 of them. When we reach the Nirvana world, I'll sell them directly. You can buy whatever you want." A glint flashed across Wu Luan's eyes as he sneered in his heart. The blood-red bead was the same as the anthropoid fruit. It was only useful for those below the level of Nirvana. It was of little value in the Nirvana world. Most importantly, the blood-red pearl was of no use to him at all. So what if he gave it away? He could have as many as he wanted here. It was not a big deal. Then all right. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment and reluctantly agreed. 135 pills. In addition to the remaining 70, the total number of blood-red pearls reached a shocking 14. Sell? Lin Feng did not plan to do so. Not to mention the rarity of an item, just the value of the blood-red pearls themselves. It was worth more than 600 billion Nirvana dollars. After a certain amount of money, it was just a number. It cannot be exchanged for anything. But the blood-red pearls, increasing the density of the bloodline, is the main path. Lin Feng was very clear. Digging out one's potential and awakening the sleeping dragon in one's body. The power of the bloodline was not static. It could continue to be improved. As for the supreme-grade heavenly saint weapon, Black Tigress, Lin Feng held the battle sword in his hand. A thick demonic aura came with deep hostility. It seemed to be condensed from countless crystal fragments. Black Tigress contained powerful energy. Just the weight of the sword alone was quite heavy. The weapon of the Qiyu clan, the primordial heavenly demon. The hostility is very strong. Perhaps it will affect the mind. Is this where Black Tigress lies? Lin Feng looked carefully at the heavenly saint weapon, Black Tigress. He thought in his heart. Other than that, he could not see anything special. If there really is something special, I will only know after I merge with it. He did not care too much. Lin Feng directly slashed out with the sword. The heavy power was oppressive and carried with it a dark aura. The power of the sword alone was enough to crush the 9 Serenity Thundersword. Supreme-grade, heavenly saint weapon, Black Tigress. It just so happens that I also cultivate the path of darkness. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Blood Mist Forbidden Grounds, Canyon Golden Pagoda. Greedy and insatiable. After completing the transaction, The heavenly demon emperor Wu Luan was in a good mood. Losing some blood-red pearls was nothing. The key was that the anger in his heart was relieved. What's the use of being as smart as a human? You still fell for my trick. Do you think a supreme-grade heavenly saint weapon is so easy to get? Idiot, idiot. Ha ha. The evil spirit of the primordial heavenly demon will devour even a nirvana expert. The moment the blood merge will be the time of your death. You are overestimating yourself to fight with me. Master, this is very strange, Little Yin said softly. I know. Lin Feng's eyes flickered and a bright eye opened in the depths of his sea of consciousness. There's a resentful spirit hidden in Hei Tong, so it is very vicious. If I'm not wrong, it should be the spirit of Hei Tong's former master, the primordial heavenly demon of the Qiyu clan. Little Yin was shocked. How did you know? Lin Feng smiled. He may not know that I have the true I-Saint power and can see through all illusions. There is no secret when the true I-Saint power seeped in a Hei Tong. Damn it, Little Yin said angrily. The heavenly demon emperor actually used such a despicable method. Fortunately, you are alert. Otherwise, the resentful spirit will devour you and you'll be finished. The resentful spirit of the primordial heavenly demon is too powerful. You are wrong, Little Yin. Lin Feng shook his head. Lin Feng's eyes were burning. This is not only not a trap for me, but also a great benefit. Blood mist forbidden ground. Lin Feng had a big smile on his face after returning from a rewarding journey. Little Yin, do you have any use for the inner core of the sky-swallowing wolf? Lin Feng asked suddenly. Little Yin was startled and answered, Yes, the sky-swallowing wolf is born with a yang body, so they want to hunt us five-tailed snow foxes. They want to combine yin and yang to improve their bloodline. It is said that they can even form a perfect combination of yin and yang, the best bloodline in the entire Nemo planet. Lin Feng nodded. So they absorb you, and you absorb them, are essentially the same. Little Yin nodded. But we're no match for them. I know. Lin Feng stopped in front of the seal. When the time comes, I will let you eat the inner core of the sky-swallowing wolf. Xiao Yin was stunned. Didn't young master release him? Lin Feng looked at the flashing carvings in front of him and stepped forward. Releasing him is a promise, and I can't go back on my words, but I didn't say I won't capture him next time. Whoosh. Chapter 553. Blood Fog Forest. It's too far, Muyu, let's go back. It was a short-haired girl named Fong Lin, whose lips were a little pale. One more super demon beast, and we can complete the task and enter the blood tower together. A bald young man's face was murderous, exuding a strong murderous aura, and his eyes were full of stubbornness. At this time, his left arm was hanging, stained with blood. Fong Yu. That day, he brought Lin Feng into the newcomer's camp, and now he was carrying out the final task of the newcomer. To be promoted to Blood Assassin, he needed to kill a super demon beast. It's okay, Muyu, you can enter the blood tower first. I'm really okay. Fong Lin said repeatedly, with tears in her eyes. A month ago, it was because of me that the mission failed. Brother Yao died tragically, and you are also seriously injured. What are you talking about? We came here together, either be promoted to Blood Assassin together, or... Fong Yu gritted his teeth. Stay here together. Looking around vigilantly, Fong Yu licked his dry lips. It hasn't been long since the blood fog forest ended. The beasts are either dead or hiding. Now is the best time. Don't worry, our luck won't be so bad that we will encounter upper-level super demon beasts every time. Both of them were in the first level. If they encountered a mid-level super demon beast, even if they couldn't defeat it, they could at least save their lives. But if they encountered an upper-level super demon beast, they would only die. But I always feel that this place is gloomy. Fong Lin looked around with some fear. We may have gone too deep. Fong Yu just wanted to say something, but his face suddenly changed. Roar! The giant beast's miserable roar resounded through the forest. The terrifying aura caused the birds to scatter, and the whole forest shook. Fong Yu was shocked. It's the roar of the golden-scaled battle bear king. Fong Lin looked at the source of the sound. I don't know if it's a 5-blood assassin or a 6-blood assassin. It's so powerful. It's so easy to kill a demon beast. If only I can do this in the future. There will be such a day. Feng Yu said. Boom, boom, boom. The earth shook violently, and Feng Yu's face instantly changed. Not good, Run. Feng Lin was taken aback. Feng Yu grabbed Feng Lin's wrist. She fled in horror. Once the demon beast dies, it will cause the surrounding beasts to flee in panic. Just as Feng Yu expected, beasts were also intelligent. It had spirituality. Even the demon god demonic beasts had been slaughtered. Naturally, the weaker super demonic beasts had fled in panic. However, Feng Yu and his companion were unlucky. Although their reaction was very fast, their speed was not as fast as that of a super demonic beast. It's over. Feng Yu's face was covered with blood. He was panting heavily. He was completely covered in blood. He leaned against the tree and shielded Feng Lin with one hand. Around them, more than 10 six-legged silver wolves with silver-gray fur surrounded the two of them under the command of the Wolf King. The Wolf King, an upper-rank super demon beast, had not yet made a move, but Feng Yu and his companion had already fallen into a desperate situation. The gap was too big. Roar! Roar! The wolves opened their bloody mouths, venting their anger, and shifted their hatred to Feng Yu and his brother. Along with the Silver Wolf King's howl, more than a dozen silver wolves with 6 feet roared like a gust of wind. It bit at Feng Yu, who was seriously injured. Despair. Feng Yu and Feng Lin, like a pair of dying mandarin ducks, closed their eyes weakly. Since they entered the blood cult, their goal had been to become blood assassins, improve their strength, and take revenge. They had imagined many times that they could carry out missions together to avenge their tribe. Even if they died, they would have no regrets. But they did not expect that they would die here, under the claws of a group of 6-legged silver wolves. Tears fell from Feng Yu's eyes. It was not because of the fear of death, but because he could no longer avenge his tribe. Even he cannot protect her. At this moment, whoosh, the amazing flame, along with the majestic darkness, shrouded the whole area. Boom, boom, boom. Under the extreme heavy pressure, the earth collapsed. The powerful cyclone swallowed the whole area. Like a tornado, only the sound of the wind and the dark aura could be heard. The sound of the wind breaking seemed to cut the space. The heavy heart fell with the collapse of the ground, completely suffocating. But in an instant, snap, all the pressure disappeared. The surroundings fell into silence. The howl of the 6-legged silver wolves could no longer be heard. Feng Yu opened his eyes in a daze. The first thing he saw was the stunned look of Feng Lin beside him, and the next moment his expression was the same. Looking at the mess in front of him, in just an instant, more than a dozen 6-legged silver wolves, including the Silver Wolf King, turned into a pool of blood. They couldn't be more dead, and not even a piece of intact flesh and blood could be seen. As if they had been punished by heaven, they died an unnatural death. That is, Feng Yu looked into the distance. A black figure, holding a giant black saber, was shrouded in a violent dark aura, like the Shuro of hell. However, as the black figure gradually approached, Feng Yu saw a face with a smile, which was very familiar. Lin Feng. Feng Yu was stunned in place. Thank you, Brother Lin, for saving my life. Feng Yu bowed his head, extremely grateful. Thank you, Brother Lin. Feng Lin also nodded. It's not a big deal. Lin Feng smiled. He also happened to pass by. In fact, he didn't recognize Feng Yu at first, but if it were any other newcomer, you would also save him. It just so happens that I owe Brother Feng a favor that day, so I could pay it back. Feng Yu shook his head. Brother Lin, you flatter me. I was just showing you the way that day. Lin Feng smiled. I also waved my saber. They looked at each other and smiled. Lin Feng was also happy to meet again after a long time. Feng Lin on the side looked over with her beautiful eyes, with admiration and envy. Brother Lin, are you the rumor in the newcomer camp, the 300 billion super newcomer? Lin Feng nodded. Yes, I should be. Feng Lin looked as if she had expected it. But rumor has it, Brother Lin, you have died in the blood. Feng Yu shouted. Feng Lin instantly knew that she had said something she shouldn't have. She covered her mouth and looked over nervously. Lin Feng smiled. Since you said it's just a rumor, of course it's fake. A gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't forget the grudge he had with Feng Yu. Now he was back. An eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. After 3 days, I have to look at you with new eyes. Feng Yu looked at Lin Feng enviously. Brother Lin's strength is really strong now. Feng Lin said cautiously, Brother Lin, can I trouble you to help us kill a super demon beast? Lin Feng smiled and nodded. This was just a small matter. With a flash of light in his hands, a huge bear demon beast with golden and black stripes suddenly appeared. Its whole body was covered with scales, like an invincible war god, but it had already lost its breath. Suddenly, Feng Yu and Feng Lin widened their eyes, stunned. Upper level demon beast? Feng Yu murmured. Golden-scaled battle bear king. Feng Lin's chest rose and fell rapidly. Lin Feng nodded. There is no super demon beast, but a demon beast should be fine, right? Chapter 554. Gulp. Feng Yu swallowed his saliva and looked at Lin Feng in shock. He couldn't believe it. Brother Lin, did you kill this golden-scale war bear? This guy's skin is very hard. Among the upper-level fierce god beasts, its defense is relatively strong. Lin Feng nodded. It struggled for 2 or 3 seconds before falling to the ground, so it caused other beasts to run around. The reason why Brother Feng encountered the group of 6-footed silver wolves may be because of me. Feng Yu and Feng Lin were already stunned. They thought that Lin Feng was already very powerful to be able to kill a super beast, but they didn't expect that he could even kill a fierce god beast. Moreover, the golden scale warbear was one of the best upper-level fierce god beasts. Even a 6-blood assassin might not be able to defeat it one-on-one. So powerful. Feng Lin looked at Lin Feng with admiration in her eyes. On the Nemo star, it was normal for women to worship the strong because martial arts were respected. In a world where money was paramount, women would often worship those who could make money. Feng Yu smiled bitterly. It turns out that the roar of the golden scale warbear we heard just now was you killing it. Lin Feng said apologetically. It suddenly occurred to me that to be promoted to blood assassin, I still need a complete super beast to complete the task. Hiss! Feng Yu and the other man gasped in shock. Brother Lin is still a newcomer. Feng Lin's beautiful eyes widened. Brother Lin, are you already in the womb? Feng Yu clearly knew Lin Feng's strength level. When he first joined the Bloody Tower 2 months ago, he was only in the 6th level of Qi Cloud. But as soon as he said that, Feng Yu knew that his question was a little silly. Lin Feng even killed an upper-level fierce god beast. How could he only be in the Qi Cloud stage? However, it was already very terrifying to kill an upper-level fierce god beast in the womb. And the point was that Lin Feng had only joined the Bloody Tower for 2 months. Whoosh! There wasn't even a sound where the saber came out. In the distance, 2 super beasts fell directly. Feng Yu and Feng Lin on the side were dumbfounded. They didn't even see how Lin Feng attacked. It was even more shocking to see it up close. The 2 of them were a little numb at this time. The young man beside them, who was similar in age to them. It was too terrifying. These 2 should be fine, right? Lin Feng put away Hei Teng and walked over. Ah, yes. Feng Yu and Feng Lin were a little confused. Feng Yu came back to her senses and nodded. 1 is enough for us. Before this, they had already successfully hunted down a low-rank super demonic beast. With this one, they could complete the mission. Then, I'll keep the other one for myself. Lin Feng kept the other low-tier super demon beast into his storage ring. Just like what Feng Yu said just now, it would be too eye-catching to take an upper-tier demon god beast to complete the mission, even though Blood Killer's mission and assessment were not that strict. All they had to do was to hand over the corpse of a super monster, but for a fetus first-tier newbie to hand over the corpse of an upper-tier fierce god monster, it was too exaggerated. It was better to avoid unnecessary trouble. Is it okay if you didn't kill him yourself? Lin Feng looked at Feng Yu. I'm fine, Feng Yu said. In fact, many rich newbies paid for the corpse. Although the Bloody Tower explicitly forbids it, this kind of thing is just a warning. There will always be people who take risks. Just like killing people, everyone knows that the bloody tower forbids killing each other, but there are still newbies and even blood killers who die unnatural deaths. Lin Feng nodded. Just like before. If he was killed by Qiu Baibu, he would be killed. Without evidence, no one could prove it. Rules and prohibitions were dead, but people were alive. It was the same on Earth. No matter how strict the law was, there would always be people who would get caught. It was normal for people to take loopholes and make all kinds of secret deals. In fact, I didn't think it was necessary before. Fang Yu said softly, because I thought I couldn't even pass this small test. How could I face more difficult tasks in the future? I can't rely on others and money to solve everything. What about now? Lin Feng asked. Fang Yu pursed his lips and shook his head. I still think so, but no buts. Lin Feng said softly, Brother Feng, what you said is right. You can avoid it for a while, but you can't avoid it forever. Embarking on the road of blood killers is destined to be bumpy. To stand out and become a man above others, one must be tempered and walk on the tip of the blade. There's an old saying in my hometown. Born in sorrow, die in peace. On the land of blood mist. What? Lin Feng is back. Qiu Baibu's face was pale, and his eyes were full of disbelief. Although he had not seen Lin Feng pass through the ancient seal and enter the nirvana world with his own eyes. But there is no reason. How could he come back? It is impossible to enter and exit the nirvana world freely. Qiu Baibu's mind was in a mess, and he paced back and forth. For him, this was completely unexpected. Suddenly, Qiu Baibu stopped, his body trembling slightly, thinking of what Blood Shadow said. I won't kill you, just keep you alive temporarily, and wait for him to come back. Let him take revenge with his own hands. The scene a month ago was still vivid in his mind. In front of Blood Shadow, he was like a moth to a flame. The difference in strength was huge. If Blood Shadow wanted to kill him, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. However, in the end, he only took his belongings. After the blood-red battle ended, Lin Feng did not appear again. Qiu Baibu had almost forgotten about him and turned his attention to Blood Shadow. He wanted revenge. One day, he would make Blood Shadow regret letting him go. But he did not expect Lin Feng was back. He came back safe and sound, as if nothing had happened. Aha! Qiu Baibu suddenly laughed coldly, and his laughter was a little shaky. He comforted himself. What is there to be afraid of? So what if he is back? I did not do anything to him, and there is no evidence. He is just a newcomer. What can he do to me? Revenge. Him? Qiu Baibu's eyes were full of disdain. He did not care about Lin Feng's strength at all. If it were not for the ancient seal, he would have killed Lin Feng. Swoosh! Qiu Baibu's eyes turned cold. He has a deal with Qian Luo, 330 billion Nemo dollars, and he has treasures. Qiu Baibu's wolfish eyes kept turning. Anyway, I will not rest until he is dead. I will find a chance to kill him. I am not an idiot like Blood Shadow. Only an idiot would do something like raising a tiger. But I have to be careful of Blood Shadow. Qiu Baibu thought to himself. The only thing he was afraid of was the most popular new 7 blood assassin in Blood Tower. Blood Shadow. Lin Feng was back. The newcomer camp was not a big deal. The blood-red incident had nothing to do with these trainee assassins. It was common for martial artists to go into seclusion for a month. However, all the blood assassins who participated in the blood-red incident were surprised. The rumor that Lin Feng was killed by Qiu Baibu had already spread. Whoosh! On Blood Tower 30, a pair of cold eyes slowly opened. Behind him, a ferocious and ugly bone dragon rose into the air, and the space seemed to freeze. He really came back alive. Blood Shadow's eyes were a little surprised, and his expression was very complicated. Whoosh! His figure disappeared. To be continued. Chapter 555. Newcomer Camp. Lord Qian Luo. Lord Qian Luo from Blood Tower 3. It's really him. Such a strong aura. What is he doing here? Qian Luo's arrival caused a commotion in the newcomer camp. 7 blood assassins. They were all high and mighty in the Blood Tower. To the trainee assassins, they were extremely respected figures. Many pairs of eyes stared, hoping to attract Qian Luo's attention. However, Qian Luo did not stop and went straight to Lin Feng. Everyone sighed. Here is 33 million Nemo coins. Qian Luo looked at Lin Feng curiously. Senior Qian Luo is indeed trustworthy. Lin Feng smiled as he kept the Nemo coins into his bag. Not long after he returned, Senior Qian Luo had rushed over and returned all the money he had left with Qian Luo. He was very trustworthy. Even if I'm just a newbie, I'm still a newbie. Qian Luo smiled. A man can't stand without integrity. Becoming a blood assassin does not mean that I have to betray my principles. Lin Feng nodded slightly. He had a good impression of Qian Luo. He was a very upright person. Qian Luo had the ability to kill him and take the crimson blood pearl. However, he did not do so and chose to trade with him. Brother Lin Feng seems to have changed a lot. Qian Luo looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng knew the reason. The upgrade of his bloodline could be said to have completely transformed him. The feeling was naturally different. I won't hide it from Senior. I have broken through to the fetus weak. Lin Feng said truthfully, changing the topic at the right time. Oh, Qian Luo's eyes lit up. I heard that Brother Lin Feng was killed by Qiu. It seems that it is just a rumor. After not seeing you for a month, Brother Lin Feng has actually broken through his shackles. It's truly worthy of celebration. Lin Feng smiled. He knew that Qian Luo was implying something, but there was no need to answer or deny. He wanted revenge. He would not let others do it. Brother Lin Feng hasn't become a blood assassin yet, right? Qian Luo asked. Lin Feng nodded. I plan to settle the newcomer's camp first before entering. Unlike Feng Yu and Feng Lin, Lin Feng was not in a hurry to be promoted to blood assassin and enter the blood tower. Since he had just returned, it wouldn't be too late to settle the matter first before making a decision. Qian Luo's eyes lit up. I wonder if Brother Lin Feng is interested in joining Blood Tower 3? There's a choice to join the Blood Tower. Lin Feng was stunned. The 33 Blood Towers were divided according to region. The one corresponding to the Eastcom continent was Blood Tower number 30. Any trainee assassin from the Eastcom continent who became a blood assassin naturally belonged to Blood Tower number 30. Most of the missions were regional in nature. For example, Blood Assassin from Blood Tower 30 would have priority when it came to missions in Eastcom continent. Since he was from the Eastcom continent, he naturally had an advantage when carrying out missions from the Eastcom continent. Qian Luo nodded with a smile. Each Blood Tower is divided into 9 levels, corresponding to blood assassins from 1 to 9 levels. Some trainee assassins may not be on good terms with other assassins in the Blood Tower. Some hope to enter a powerful Blood Tower, while others have enemies all over the continent and are wanted everywhere. Lin Feng smiled. Qian Luo had clearly come prepared. The third example he gave was directed at him. The battle at East Spirit City. He was probably famous in the Eastcom continent now. Ao Jianhui, the God Nirvana sect, and even the Eastcom army were all searching for him. That made sense. Entering the Eastcom continent under such circumstances would undoubtedly be difficult. There would also be many inconveniences when carrying out missions, and it would be easy for unforeseen events to occur. When Brother Lin Feng first entered, there were some glowing lights on the Blood Tower. Can you see some of the doors of the towers flickering with fluorescent light? Lin Feng was enlightened. It has something to do with joining? Qian Luo replied. A glowing Blood Tower means that it is willing to accept trainee assassins from other continents. Smiling, Qian Luo said, Of course. This is only for most trainee assassins. With Brother Lin Feng's fame and strength, I believe that most Blood Towers will be more than happy to open their doors. Are there any differences in joining different Blood Towers apart from the priority when accepting missions? Lin Feng asked. Yes. Qian Luo nodded. Every Blood Tower is a small faction, and they are often more united. Assassins with Blood 7 and above in the Blood Tower will take care of the juniors. Many missions can't be completed by one person. At this time, the strength of a group is very important. Lin Feng somewhat understood. There was a huge difference in combat strength between a group of 3 and a group of 3. If it was a group of 10 or 20 blood assassins, it was needless to say. Qian Luo also said that every Blood Tower should have some kind of honor. Just like the clan they were born in, The strength of the clan would make the clan members proud and glorious. The blood assassins of Blood Towers were the same. The Blood Tower has a ranking. According to the Blood Assassin's mission completion rate, number of missions completed, overall strength, strongest strength, and total reward, there will be a comprehensive evaluation at the end of each year. The strongest will be Blood Tower 1, which is the closest to the Blood Mist Palace. The weakest will be Blood Tower 33, which is the furthest from the Blood Mist Palace. Our Blood Tower 3 has been the top 5 for 10 years. We have a deep foundation. Qian Luo talked endlessly, and there was some pride in his words. Lin Feng understood that this was the same honor as being born in a clan. It was indeed good to join Blood Tower 3. The Blood Assassin's overall strength was very strong. Just by looking at Qian Luo's friendliness, one would know the atmosphere of Blood Tower 3. Its overall strength was only ranked 5th, but the number of missions completed and completion rate were ranked 2nd. In terms of the strongest strength, our Blood Tower 3 is also ranked 3rd. Lord Tooba is one of the only 3-9 Blood Assassins in Blood Tower. Lord Tooba is never stingy to newcomers. With Brother Lin Feng's strength and potential, I believe Lord Tooba will give him many treasures, even heaven-class sacred treasures. Tooba Yu, one of the 3-9 Blood Assassins. Lin Feng's heart was moved. He was curious and full of challenge. A 7 Blood Assassin had the strength of a Nemo expert. A 9 Blood Assassin, how strong would he be? Moreover, each 9 Blood Assassin was only an upper-level expert of Zizhou. They were not even 30 years old. The foundation of Blood Tower was amazing. There were too many geniuses in Blood Tower. Compared to her, who is stronger? The appearance of Goddess Wakaman appeared in Lin Feng's mind. She was the first on the Glorious Stars list and a disciple of the strongest sect in the 33 continents, Immortal Pavilion. I wonder how Xinyan is now. Has she become a disciple of Immortal Pavilion? Lin Feng's thoughts were running wild. He was still worried about Lan Xinyan. He did not know if his matter would affect her. After all, it was because of him. I'll check it out when I become a Blood Assassin. Lin Feng thought. A light flashed in his eyes. The battle in Dongling City was still unforgettable. Thunderbolt Palace. I will find out who framed me that day. To be continued. Chapter 556. 300 billion rookies are back. Yes, I didn't expect him to come back alive from the Blood Forest. He can enter and exit the Blood Fog Forest freely and come back safely from the Blood Baptism. Even a 5 Blood Assassin isn't confident. A stone stirred up 1,000 ripples. The news of Lin Feng's return quickly spread across the Blood Fog continent. In fact, his reputation as 300 billion rookies was already well known, but the Blood Tower assassins only thought he was rich, which was nothing in the Blood Tower. However, strength was another matter. Less than 10% of the 4 Blood Assassins could survive the Blood Baptism, and less than 50% of the 5 Blood Assassins. He is also from the East Peace Continent, another Blood Shadow. Wow, he might be even more terrifying than Blood Shadow. Hee, the Blood Fog Continent is going to be lively. Blood Tower number 1. The beautiful sound of the zither echoed. After the song ended, the red-clothed girl put down her harmonica and smiled. 9 Blood Assassin, Shimanzi. The only girl among the 3-9 Blood Assassins. Tooba Yu is quite fast. Shimanzi's figure gently moved and landed outside the 9th floor of the Blood Tower. Her beautiful eyes flashed, and her graceful figure was like a gift from the heavens. Her red dress was faintly discernible, and it was enough to captivate people's soul. Her collarbone moved slightly, and the sound of the harmonica sounded again. Blood Tower number 1. A young man stood proudly in the middle of flames, and a fire dragon danced on his forehead. Son of the fire dragon, Mo Hua. The strongest 9 Blood Assassin, the trump card of the Blood Tower. Mission completion rate, 100%. Jia, summon him. No matter what he wants, satisfy him. Mo Hua landed on the ground and spoke. He had the demeanor of a general despite his young age. It's a bit difficult, Brother Rome. Hao Jia frowned slightly. Hao Jia's expression was solemn. Baibu and him have some teeth marks. There seemed to be some intense friction during the Blood Fog continent. I heard that Lin Feng was killed by Baibu in the end, which led to Blood Shadow's revenge. This matter spread like wildfire. However, Lin Feng is back now, and he hasn't said anything. It's hard to tell if it's true or false, but I estimate it's more than 80% likely. Rong was snorted coldly. Go try. Okay. The rookie camp was bustling with noise and excitement. It had been a long time since they had seen such a scene. Qian Luo was just the beginning. One by one, the Seven Bloods assassins entered, all of them heading straight for Lin Feng. The last time this happened, it was the Blood Shadow from a year ago, but the Blood Shadow back then was not as exaggerated. Heavens, 5 of the 33 Blood Towers have come. The other 8 are probably a bit slower in collecting the wind, or perhaps Boss is in seclusion. Otherwise, it's impossible for them not to arrive. Who the hell is this Lin Feng? Your information is too outdated. I've asked around. I heard that Lin Feng killed an upper-rank super demon beast in the Blood Fog Forest. No way. Lin Feng already has the strength of a 3-blood assassin. All kinds of news spread like wildfire. Lin Feng didn't have time to pay attention to him. Feng Yu and Feng Lin, who knew his strength, wouldn't spread the news and get Lin Feng's help. The two of them had successfully passed the rookie mission and were officially promoted to Blood Assassins. They had become members of Blood Tower No. 4 and had officially embarked on the path of Blood Assassins. In the rookie camp, Lin Feng's residence. You're finally here. Lin Feng looked at the gate. The black figure seemed familiar. He appeared in front of him several times and seemed to have been secretly observing him. Outside Changyang Mountain City, in Dongling City, he even gave him a token. He introduced him to the Blood Tower. He seemed to be very familiar with him, but he was very strange to him. Blood Shadow. Chinese Blood Shadow. You're really back. Blood Shadow's eyes were very complicated. Lin Feng looked at Blood Shadow. It seems that the rumor is true. You help me teach Xiao Baibu a lesson? Help you. Blood Shadow sneered. You think too highly of yourself. Lin Feng smiled. Anyway, I still have to thank you. Blood Shadow's voice was cold. How did you come back from the Nirvana world? Lin Feng paused slightly and shook his head. I didn't enter the Nirvana world. He hid some things from Senior Qian Luo, but he didn't want to hide it from Blood Shadow. Blood Shadow's eyes changed, but they were still cold. You've improved. I'm still not as good as you, Lin Feng said. Blood Shadow. The news of him becoming a new 7-blood assassin had already spread. He was already known as the next 9-blood assassin. Which Blood Tower are you going to enter? Blood Shadow asked. Lin Feng sneered. You're here for this? No. Blood Shadow directly denied. He stared at Lin Feng with a pair of gloomy blood eyes and said something that shocked Lin Feng. I'm here to issue a challenge. He came like the wind and left like a shadow. A pair of blood-colored gloomy eyes was still fresh in his memory. That was how Blood Shadow got his name. He challenged me? Lin Feng shook his head with a bitter smile. It seemed to be the opposite. With Blood Shadow's strength, Lin Feng was no match for him at all. Even if he activated his bloodline now, Lin Feng knew clearly that he was only a 6-blood assassin. He could kill demon god beasts because his attacks were strong. However, his body, defense, speed, and other aspects were still a long way from a true 6-blood assassin. He was even weaker than a 7-blood assassin like Blood Shadow. If there's a challenge, it should be me challenging him. Blood Shadow's voice appeared in Lin Feng's mind. There was a hint of decisiveness in his gloomy voice. He was not joking. 3 months later, the Battle of Glory. Let's see who's stronger. Lin Feng sighed softly. This was Blood Shadow's challenge, and he had accepted it officially because he could not find a reason to refuse. Even if Blood Shadow had not suggested it, he had planned to participate in the Battle of Glory. The most talented experts under the age of 30 in the 33 continents would fight. Not only would he be able to see the geniuses of Planet Nemo, but he would also be able to train himself. Why not? However, his current strength was still not strong enough. There's still 3 months. It shouldn't be a problem to increase my strength to a true 6-blood assassin, but to increase my strength to fight Blood Shadow. I need the strength of a 7-blood assassin. In other words, a Nemo expert. Lin Feng took a deep breath and felt his blood boiling. It was extremely challenging. There's no harm in giving it a try. Moreover, the battle of glory will gather all the geniuses. With Brother Li's talent and potential, if he can survive, his strength will increase rapidly like mine. Maybe I'll see him then. But then again, I feel that Blood Shadow is very familiar. Am I mistaken? One day later, Lin Feng left the newcomers' camp. Invitations came one after another, and 7 blood assassins came to visit him. He could not be at ease, even if he wanted to cultivate in seclusion. The newcomers' camp was unobstructed, and the wooden house did not obstruct him. Although blood assassins would not disturb him while cultivating, it was not good to make him wait. Moreover, it was imperative for him to become a 7 blood assassin. Blood Tower number 1 and Blood Tower number 3 are not bad. They're sincere and powerful. It should be a good place to go. Lin Feng went to the Blood Mist Palace alone. His eyes flashed as he looked at the majestic blood-colored building and strode in.